Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Burridge Gymnasium on the campus of McMaster University for the 2016 CIS Men's Volleyball National Championship. We're getting you set for consolation semifinal number 1 between the RESQ champions Laval Rouge, who lost their quarterfinal 3-0 to the Alberta Golden Bears, and the Ryerson Rams, who finished second in the OUA and lost their quarterfinal game 3-1 to the Trinity Western University Spartans. I am Kyle Compo, joined alongside by Kyle Ryan. We're going to be calling the game for you here today, and we're going to queue up a couple players to watch for both teams, and we'll get set to have a preview here of the Ryerson Rams. A couple players to watch in this contest. Before we get to that, Kyle, it's going to be a good matchup here between two teams coming off disappointing losses on day one. Ryerson Rams second in the OUA. We'll get a look here at Robert Wojcik. 14 kills yesterday, a .233 hitting percentage, 8 digs and 4 blocks. Wojcik, a big part of the Ryerson Rams' success this season. And yesterday, our second look at Lucas Coleman, a big part of the Ryerson Rams team once again. Number 14, the outside hitter, 15 kills, a .205 hitting percentage, 4 digs and 7 errors, though costly against a strong Trinity Western program. And we'll get a look at Bruno Lorty.
So if you take a look at Bruno Lorty for Laval yesterday, he had 6 kills, 1 assist, 6 digs, and 4 errors. And Laval as a team not playing to their potentials. You look at their team stats, they had 32 kills but 24 errors, leaving them with a .090 hitting percentage, and they had 0 aces and 12 serving errors. So look for Laval to come in as a different team, as you never want to end this tournament with 2 straight losses.
Yeah, Laval coming off a Quebec Conference championship. Once again, a big perennial program in the Quebec Conference, but losing to a strong Alberta Golden Bears team who had been ranked second and number 1 actually to end the regular season before losing in the playoffs. A tough first draw for them. Meanwhile, Ryerson getting the Trinity Western Spartans, always a tough team coming out of the Can West program. And they took down Ryerson in 4 sets. Ryerson looking good. We'll see if they can respond here in a big game that they have the potential to win here against the Laval team coming off a tough loss to Alberta.
Just like you were saying about that Ryerson team, they played really well yesterday, just overmatched by that strong Trinity Western team coming out of the Canada West division.
So a lot of players to watch out for in this game, aside from the 3 that we mentioned, the 2 on Ryerson, as well as the 1 main player to watch here for Laval. We have a couple of others to look out for as well, aside from Bruno Lorty from Laval. We have number 5, Vicente Parraguirre, and as well as number 7, Olivier Giannini. Big players to watch for in the Rouge today. And then on the other side for Ryerson, a 5th-year Mark Reardon and 5th-year Alex Dawson, who will be key factors for the team, as well as setter number 13, Adam Anagnostopoulos, one of the best setters in the Ontario Conference this season. And his play will be critical to the success of this Ryerson team as they look to move forward and play in that 5th place game tomorrow in the winner of our 2nd consolation semifinal. We are going to get you set here for first serve. Again, you are watching the 2016 CIS Men's Volleyball National Championship. This is consolation semifinal number 1 between the Laval Rouge and the Ryerson Rams. And the Quebec champions against the Ontario runners-up. And Ryerson will start with serve, and right away we will go to number 5, Alex Dawson, who will drop back to the service line for Ryerson. And they're actually giving serve the other way. It's going to be Laval taking the serve. So taking it will be Ethan Ellison taking first serve for the Laval Rouge. And it's a jump float to start. Easy pickup for the Rams. Anagnostopoulos finds Ofoa in the middle. Gets picked up, and right away going to be called for a double touch at the net. And the first point of this consolation semifinal goes to the Rams.
And I mean, that's exactly what you're going to want to look for. Adam Anagnostopoulos and Ofoa have that connection, and Ofoa is so dominant in the middle, so look for them to go to him quite often in this match.
Ofoa with a jump float the other way, picked up on serve receive. Set from Ellison to the outside, great attack back the other way, and the Rams are going to be called on the net. A great pickup from Ofoa, but to no avail, an attack on the left side from Olivier Giannini, who again we said is going to be a key factor to the success of the Rouge in this game here against Ryerson, and he gets his first point of the opening set there.
He was one of the bright spots that Laval did have yesterday in their loss to Alberta.
Dawson picks up serve receive, goes far to the outside, and it's a big attack from number 2, Robert Wojcik, who we said off the top was a player to watch here for Ryerson. Rams up 2-1.
Wojcik dominant all year. His numbers had him up there in the top for the OUA all year long, so someone who's been dominant from the start of the season.
Wojcik taking serve. He's got a topper. Picked up on the back end, a tough first ball up. Set nicely, and a double block is set, but it squeezes through a seam and drops to the floor. And Laval ties it up right away. Teams trading the first 4 points. So going back to the service line now will be number 9, Laurent Myholt. Deep serve, picked up. Anagnostopoulos comes to the outside, finds Coleman, swings into the double block, but it's angled out of bounds. Point goes to the Rams.
Strong play by Coleman there to see the double block go up and try not to do too much with it, just put it in the block because it was angled out of bounds like you said.
Lucas Coleman back to serve for the Rams. Topper picked up nicely in the backcourt by the Rouge et Or. Set goes again to the outside, attacking error from Laval. No touch called at the net from the Rams, and the attacking error from the Rouge et Or goes well out of play, and the Rams are now doubled up leading 4-2.
Said that's one thing that really affected Laval yesterday was their errors. They had 24 errors, so look to see if they try and cut that number down today.
Short service error there from Coleman. And again, getting the good with the bad on a high risk, high reward type of jump serve that Lucas Coleman possesses, going short into the net on that one.
Exactly, that's the one thing that you have with the topper. It's like you said, high risk, high reward. So a lot of players go to it, and they're very consistent with it, but both teams did have 12 service errors in their matches yesterday.
Coleman picks up serve receive, and Anagnostopoulos to the outside. Dawson with a tip over top. Otten gonna reset. Backcourt, pipe ball from Coleman, touch off the top of the block. Set at the top, goes to the outside, double block by the Rams, and it's touched on the way back through. Deflected off hands and out of play, and another big point there for Ryerson.
And it all starts with their setter, Adam Anagnostopoulos. He's so smart, and when you have weapons like Reardon, Dawson, Coleman, Wojcik, they're all over the court, so he just changes it up, and it works quite often.
Ellison runs the quick in the middle. Great touch there from Hugo Leger. And a touch from the Rams, but unable to scramble and pick the ball up. Ball drops to the floor, point to the Rouge et Or.
Something you love to see too, 2 of your big men going all out for a ball well beyond the service line.
And a great touch there, a set from Anagnostopoulos. Finds a jumping Ofoa, using his height to his advantage. Great timing on the quick.
And it might have caught Laval off guard there, as they only sent one blocker up in the middle, and that's why you love feeding your middle. So often only one blocker goes up, and Ofoa will make the most of it.
Anagnostopoulos celebrating the service ace, going off the tape and dropping over. And from a coaching perspective, the worst thing you can see on serve receive is hitting that tape and dropping to the floor where your players have no opportunity to pass the ball up.
Exactly, just that one there, you see no one in the upper corner, so lucky serve there for Anagnostopoulos.
And a great fix there from Ellison on the set. An over bump on serve receive goes right up to the tape. Ellison with a great single hand set, saves it for Laval, and they hammer it home. They're back within 2, trailing 7-5.
Both teams so far early on in the set taking advantage of those good pass ups and good sets, so we'll see how they work with that throughout this match.
Leger back to serve. 5 back in serve receive for the Ryerson Rams, and it's an ace for Leger. Finds that back corner in behind the vacant 1 spot occupied there by Dawson. So just a little miscommunication there, finding that back corner. And the teams trade service aces, and Leger will go once again. Jumping topper. Dawson picks it up this time, and Anagnostopoulos to the outside. Finds Wojcik, squeezes through a seam. It's picked up nicely in the backcourt by the Rouge et Or. Pipe ball there from number 7, Olivier Giannini, but just a little bit too heavy, the attacking error. Great run by the Laval Rouge et Or on offense there, but just squeezing out of bounds, and it's a point for Ryerson.
Great effort from Giannini in the back row to come flying, and had a huge hit on that one.
And another great fix there from Ellison in the middle, but Giannini can't capitalize. And the swing goes into the net and out of play. but the referees do call it off hands. So it will be a point to Laval Rouge, who are back within one. Ellison, jumping float, picked up by Coleman and Agnostopoulos. Back out to Coleman, great attack, and it's picked up in the back. Laval doing a great job on defense. Will Otten responds the other way for the Rams. Coleman swings into the block, and the Laval Rouge called on the net. Number 7, Olivier Giannini, the culprit there for Laval.
That was our best rally of the game so far, and huge swings from both sides of the court, but then you look at the liberos, great up, so great start to this first set.
Thibault-Bernier on the nice dig there for Laval as he gets to serve receive right there. A touch in the middle, Dawson picks it up. Ofoa calls off Coleman, just sends the free ball over. Thibault picks that up. And a pipe ball tipped over top. Great read by the Laval Rouge, making a mid-air adjustment, and that's Vicente Parraguirre. The great attack there, catching the Rams off guard on defense.
Parraguirre, one of the other guys that like to go to him and Giannini will get most of the attacks for Laval, so we'll see how they capitalize early on.
Jumping float, a little heavy from Otten, and it's sent up over top. And a great touch at the net from the Rams. Ellison sets to the outside, big attack on the left side, cutting inside on the block, and finds the open floor. Big attack there for the Rams, and we're even at 9. The attack there on the left side from number 5, Vicente Parraguirre.
And once he gets going, expect to see that quite often, so we'll see how Ryerson capitalizes on defense.
And Lucas Coleman, the touch on serve receive goes well out of play. Another service ace for the Laval Rouge. And they take their second lead of this opening set, 10-9 the score now. And Bruno Lorty back to serve once again for Laval. Hard jump float there, and it's touched over top. Great read by Giannini. And now it's 3 straight points for the Laval Rouge.
And it's really nice to see the serves going well for Laval. As you look, they had 0 service aces yesterday, so nothing really flowing for them behind the line yesterday. So nice to see the change in this match.
Hard floater again from Lorty, and it's a fix from an Agnostopoulos, but the touch in the middle goes out of play. And Agnostopoulos doing a good job getting up, but unable to convert was Mark Reardon, and that's going to force the Rams and Dustin Reed to call a timeout.
Good call, good timeout call there for the Rams, because the past 3 serves, their passes haven't been able to get up to an Agnostopoulos for him to get a good set. So just call timeout, regroup the guys as they're down 3 about halfway into this first set.
And you talk about the importance that first ball has on serve receive. It makes a world of difference even at this level, where something so fundamental and elementary as taking first ball up and allowing the setter to get underneath and running the offense efficiently. But it does make a difference. If you can't get that first ball passed up into a good spot at 2.5 or within that sort of realm, it makes it very difficult for the setter to make plays, and even more difficult for an attacker to read off that second ball, forcing a lot of free balls, and that's kind of what's happened here for the Rams, throwing a lot of free balls back over, and Laval taking advantage.
Exactly, especially when that first ball goes so tight to the net. That's every hitter's dream when you see that ball just at the net, and someone like Giannini is gonna make the most of that every time he gets the chance.
Lorty still serving for Laval. So jump float again, finding the corner. Coleman picks it up this time. The down ball, great swing by Coleman, but it's picked up by Thibault. Far side, Ellison in the tip over top of the net. And they do call the Laval Rouge on the net late. The up official making the call, seeing it right there. So we'll see, they're gonna see if they can talk to the floor captain and get an understanding, but the up official making the call, and it looked as though from our vantage point, Laval was on the net.
Exactly, very smart play there to tip it over, but you saw after he tipped it, the net did move a lot, so good call there by the referee.
Wojcik serving for Ryerson, he's got a strong topper. And it goes well out the back again. We talked about the high risk, high reward nature of that top serve. Wojcik sending it well out of bounds. Not even close on that one. It's 13-10 for Laval.
It's the second missed serve of the match for Ryerson, so something you want to work on, because just like you saw what happened there, for Laval, you get the free point, but then giving it right back.
Teams trading service errors. Mailhook goes short into the net. And that'll give the service back to the Rams, and it's Lucas Coleman. Coleman with the topper. Picked up in the back. Getting to it is Ellison. Roll shot goes into the net, but it gets over top. Great squeeze through by Parraguirre. Getting a strong attack on that left side through the double block of the Rams, and it drops in.
That's the second time so far that's happened to Mark Reardon, so we'll see the slight adjustment he might make at the net.
Giannini with the serve. Coleman gets it on receive, and out the back, and a strong attack by number 5, Alex Dawson, reading it on the left side. And the Rams are going to make their first substitution as Brandon Jordan will come in for number 4, Mark Reardon. And Kyle, you talked about a couple of errors at the net from Mark Reardon. Maybe that's why we're seeing Jordan come into the game right now.
Yeah, exactly. And he's also used as a serve specialist. Ryerson likes to put him in for that. And you see there his nice serve.
Tight ball to the net on serve receive, but it is converted for the Rougeois, and it's a strong backcourt attack from number 2, Robert Wojcik, running the A ball perfectly, or the C ball perfectly, and the Rams are back within 1. And a serve receiving error this time from Laval, unable to get a touch on it there with Parraguirre, and that could be costly. 14-14, and now the Rams going on a run.
Exactly, a smart move by head coach Dustin Reed, as Brandon Jordan is always put in to serve, and you see there a serve tough to handle.
And another over touch, but it's met at the net. Great battle by the 2 setters, and the strength coming there from Ethan Ellison, getting a strong touch on the ball and deflects to the open court of the Rams. And Kyle, as you expected, Jordan coming back out and giving way to Dawson in the backcourt, and Otten going to take over for both of them.
And you see there that play by the setter for Ryerson and Agnostopoulos. Sometimes the adrenaline gets pumped when you see that ball, because setters don't get much chance to hit.
And an attacking error there out of the pipe from Lucas Coleman. And Agnostopoulos setting it up, and that'll take us to the first set. Technical timeout. Laval leading the Ryerson Rams by a score of 16-14. And it's been a little bit sloppy on both sides. Couple of service errors, couple attacking errors on both sides of the net. But in the early stages here, again, at the tech timeout in this first set, Kyle, what have you noticed to be the difference on the Laval side of the net that has them up 2 points here at the tech timeout?
I think it's their attacks. They're more successful with their attacks so far compared to yesterday when they played Alberta. And like you said, when they go up against a tough Alberta team, Alberta's so strong at the net, they're having more success against Ryerson. And you look to players like Parraguirre and Giannini to get going, so look for them to continue that as they have a 2-point lead so far.
Good look at a couple of highlights there. Set to the outside, Lucas Coleman swing going straight into the double block there of Laval, and then a response back the other way, a tip right in the middle from number 5, Vicente Parraguirre. Again, a big part of this Laval team. Tip gets right over top, finding the pot. Unable to pick it up there was Uchenna Ofoa. And then a nice dump there, but Parraguirre called on the net, and as you see on the replay there, the referees did make the right call. So coming out of the tech timeout, we will have the Laval Rougeois serving, and it'll be number 5, Vicente Parraguirre. 4 back in serve receive for the Rams, goes off the tape, Otten there to pick it up. And Agnostopoulos to the outside, great attack by Dawson. They follow it out, just getting out of bounds. Great job on the defensive scramble there for Ryerson, following the play out to make sure it does in fact get out of play. And now Vicente Parraguirre going to be subbed out on serve receive after a rough sequence for him.
And you see that hit by Dawson, so much power, and he's going to try and be more successful today as his percentage was .087 yesterday.
Great fix at the net there again from Ellison on the overbump on serve receive for Laval. And the attack there from Hugo Leger catching the Rams a little bit off guard, going off the top of the block and dropping to the open floor. And the Laval Rougeois back on top by 2, 17-15 the score.
Ryerson's going to try and get with closer than 2, as it's been a 2-point lead for Laval for a while. And
service error there from Leger goes out the back of the court. And Otten in a good position in the 6-back to read the ball and watching it go out of play. As we see Dawson getting set to serve now for the Rams. Jumping float, picked up by Thibault. Ellison to the far side, and it's picked up by Dawson in the back. And Agnostopoulos scrambles. Otten going to throw over the free ball. Great fix by Ryerson. Ellison, far side, Giannini, big attack out of the backcourt, jumps through, and the lead is back to 2. Great run by the Laval Rouge, staying with the play, and then Ellison reading Giannini to his offside. Great conversion there from Laval.
Exactly, Giannini a lot more successful today, and I mean, when you get those hits in and those kills, your confidence just boosts that high, so he'll continue to do that.
Anagnostopoulos finds Coleman, the official calling it in. So a great swing by Lucas Coleman going cross court, just painting that sideline, and the Rams are staying with it, down 18-17.
And Coleman's so smart, he knows where the blockers are, so he angles his hit whatever way he has to go.
Ofoa with a strong serve. Off the tape, but comes back. Giannini hit the attack and a double block there from Wojcik and Reardon. And those two combining for a number of blocks all season long. Great angle on the arms on the block, deflecting the ball to the open floor, and we're tied at 18.
I mean, when you have two players, Reardon 6'8" and Wojcik 6'7", so dominant at the net together.
Set to the outside, Giannini responds, finds a seam this time between Reardon and Wojcik. Great swing through, and Laval back on top as Otten gonna come in. We'll get a substitution for Laval, as coming back in at the net will be number 5, Vicente Parraguirre, giving an added boost and added depth move at the net for one of Laval's strongest hitters, as Jimmy Asselin gonna sub out as a defensive reserve there in the backcourt for Parraguirre. Coleman takes serve receive, and Anagnostopoulos finds touch in the middle. Thibault picks it up on the scramble. Otten sets in the middle, and Anagnostopoulos to the outside. Great attack, Robert Wojcik. And the set to the offside, perfectly timed by Anagnostopoulos, and again we're tied at 19.
And you saw there the 3 players going up to attack was Coleman, Reardon, and Wojcik. So I mean, Anagnostopoulos has so many options, and he makes the most of them every time.
Serve receive, set into the middle, great pickup by Will Otten. Anagnostopoulos to the outside, Coleman finds a seam, and it's Lucas Coleman responding for the Rams, and Ryerson now takes the lead, up 20-19, and that's gonna force Laval. Pascal Clement gonna call a timeout. Great run by the Rams.
All around fantastic play by the Rams. Great dig by Otten, and then you see Adam Anagnostopoulos get to the ball as it was still well beyond the attack line, and a perfect set to Coleman, who just hit the seam like you said. Great effort by the Rams.
So 20-19 the score in the Laval timeout. Teams trading the lead all set long in this consolation semifinal number 1 between the Laval Rouge, the RESQ champions, losing yesterday to the Alberta Golden Bears in 3 straight. Whereas the Rams coming off a 3-1 loss to Trinity Western, who were the Can West champions and seeded number 2 in this CIS National Championship.
And if you look at the scores from that Ryerson Trinity Western game, it was close from the start. They 25-19, 25-22. Then they won the 3rd set and then lost the 4th set in the bonus point, you could say. So Ryerson played well.
Great serve, but a fix from Ellison, picked up by Dawson. And Anagnostopoulos to the outside. Coleman finds a seam. Thibault with the touch, but it goes well out of play. Power attack on the left side from Lucas Coleman. And the lead is now 2 for Ryerson.
It's Coleman's 5th kill already, and it just shows you how dominant he is at the net.
Back to serve now, Robert Wojcik. Topper. Set into the middle from Ellison, and it's outside, and a great attack there from Parraguirre, getting well over top of the block, hitting that ball at its highest point. Nothing the block can do on that one, straight down to the floor.
And it seems like Parraguirre, he's very dominant when you see Reardon and Adam Anagnostopoulos on that side going up for the double block. Laval's been very successful against them, so look to see if they're going to keep feeding that side when those two go up for the double block.
Hugo Alexandre Parody in to serve for Laval. Critical juncture in the set right now, and it's a short serve over top. Coleman picks it up. And Anagnostopoulos, great set as he finds a streaking Mark Reardon at the net. Great run by the Rams. Coleman smirking a little bit in terms of his serve receive. Not the greatest, but Anagnostopoulos getting to it perfectly and finds Reardon at the net.
What a fantastic set there. It looks like he was almost falling backwards, reaching for that ball, and Reardon ready for that quick up the middle.
Serve receive picked up, Ellison goes to the outside, and it's a response again from Vicente Parraguirre. One of the big players on this Laval team. Strong left side, one of the better hitters in the Quebec Conference. And Laval back to within one as Giannini is back to serve.
Exactly, they fed that same spot for Parraguirre, and this time they only got Admin Agnostopoulos with that single block.
Coleman picks up serve receive, and Agnostopoulos to the outside. Dawson with the roll, gets over top of the block, and Thibault unable to get to it. Again, finding that empty spot in the pot there. And now we'll get a substitution for Ryerson. Coming in will be Brett Whitley. And it's going to be a timeout for Laval before the substitution is complete. 23-21 in favor of Ryerson. So a good battle back and forth between these two teams. Again, both coming off disappointing losses in the championship side yesterday and have been relegated to the consolation side, but do still have an opportunity to play again tomorrow with a victory here, and the winner will play the winner of our second consolation semifinal in tomorrow's fifth place game.
Exactly. It's a game you don't want to play, and you never want to be in the consolation semifinal, but if you do lose your first game, you got to play strong, and you have a chance of finishing fifth, the fifth best team in all of Canada. So you don't want to give up, and you can see these two teams really want it. So we'll see how bad they want to continue through this first set and then possibly tomorrow's game.
So now we will get Brett Whitley coming in, who gives the Rams a little bit more height at the net with Agnostopoulos coming off to the bench. It's a little bit taller setter, perhaps going for a block here at the net on serve for the Rams, and it's picked up. Sloppy first touch, roll shot by Giannini picked up. Whitley to the outside finds Dawson, touch off the top of the block, and getting to it is Ellison, and a big swing on the left side once again from Parraguirre, and Agnostopoulos will come right back in for Ryerson.
Just like you said, it looked like they did want more height at the net, and you saw him go up for the block. He comes off with a smile, but that's what they maybe wanted, but it still didn't work out. So Laval capitalizing on that side of the net.
And now Laval needing to get a stop here as we approach set point for the Rams. Otten picks it up, and Agnostopoulos to the outside, roll from Dawson, and having to get up, battle to net is won by the Rams. Getting a touch on it was Ellison, but Giannini streaking in, trying to keep the play alive, and now we are at the first set point for the Ryerson Rams, 24-22.
It's a tough play for Laval setter Ethan Ellison, as he's 5'11", going up against Alex Dawson, who stands at 6'7" for the Rams.
And Agnostopoulos with the floater. Tough ball again on serve receive, and sloppy first ball by the Laval Rouge on serve receive gives us the first set to the Ryerson Rams. They take it 25-22. And Kyle, as we talked about at the tech timeout, serve receive and first ball up being a critical issue for both teams, and Ryerson taking advantage of it there on set point.
Exactly. We talked about Ryerson having trouble with that serve receive before the technical timeout, but after that they seem to come together, and then a terrible time for Laval to have trouble with it is near the end of the set. That's when you want everything to go well for you, and the serve receive for them just wasn't the greatest, and you saw on the scoreboard that's the reason why they ended up losing that first set.
25-22 the score for the Rams as we get a couple of highlights of the opening set. Push to the outside, you see Giannini capitalizing on his opportunities. A strong first set for him, but Agnostopoulos making the difference. A number of spectacular sets on the Ryerson side of the net. A couple of service errors in both directions. You see an attack here from Parraguirre, big set from him as well at the offensive side of things on the net. A little tougher set for him on serve receive and defensively, as he was replaced a couple of times. But a strong set nonetheless from both sides overall. You see the battle at the net there won by the Rams, as Kyle alluded to. A tough matchup for setter Ethan Ellison, matching up with Mark Reardon at the net. So Laval has to regroup here. And in the consolation semifinal, two teams again coming off a loss yesterday. We would anticipate that these consolation semifinal games would go the distance, perhaps 4 or 5 sets long. So what does Laval need to do in the timeout huddle right now to regroup for set number 2?
If you take a look at their stats, they need to regroup on their serve receive, because that's what that's what got him at the end. And you look at it, they look to feed Giannini and Parraguirre mostly, as Parraguirre had 12 attacks, Giannini with 7. So those are the two guys they like to go to. And then you look at Ryerson's side. They like to go to Coleman, who's been successful, has 5 kills, and Alex Dawson, 8 attacks with 5 kills. So he's someone who you don't hear a lot of because he's behind big names like Wojcik, Ofua, and Coleman, but he's very dominant with a .625 percentage so far.
So something to look at as a team, the Ryerson Rams attacking at .481 in that opening set. Minimal errors on the attack, converting 16 out of 27. And a great ratio for them in that first set, likely obviously to come down as the match goes on. But a great team attack there in the first set, minimizing their attacking errors. You look on the other side, a .370 attack for the Laval Rouge. Perhaps the difference in that 3-point spread there in that first set was the attacking errors and some of the service errors from Laval.
And both of those percentages, you must be impressed with if your coaches of both sides. That's much better than their numbers yesterday.
So the same lineups for both teams as we get set to start set number 2. As you look across the net for the Rams, we've got Coleman, Ofoa, and Wojcik. And Agnostopoulos coming out of the backcourt. And back to serve for Ryerson will be number 5, Alex Dawson. Jump float, picked up by Thibault. Ellison with the set to the outside, and it's a big attack right through the seam of the block to start set number 1 from number 11, Bruno Lorty, who we haven't seen a ton of after our intro preview of what he could do in this game.
But what a way to start the set for Laval. You kind of fall apart near the end of that first set. You come back, perfect pass, perfect set, perfect kill. So what a way to start for them.
Agnostopoulos sets to the outside, and a response immediately. Number 2, Robert Wojcik, as he's done throughout his 5 years at Ryerson, responding big time for the Rams on the attack on the right side.
He's on fire. That's his 4th kill, and he's at .800 percentage. So he's definitely dominant, making the most of his attacks.
Service from Ofoa is picked up. Attack in the middle, goes off the tape, unable to scramble and pick it up. Good effort there from Coleman and Reardon, but unable to get the ball back over, and it's a lead back again for Laval. They're up 2-1 on a bit of a scramble play.
Seemed like I caught Ryerson off guard there, but great effort by Coleman to even get a touch on that ball.
Lorty back to serve for Laval. Jumping float, handled by Coleman. And Agnostopoulos with a tight set. Picked up by Thibault. Backcourt attack, roll shot from Lorty. And Agnostopoulos back to the outside, Coleman. Off the touch, and it's off hands and out of play. And Lucas Coleman with a big attack was actually number 5, Vicente Parraguirre, with the roll shot there for Laval. But easily picked up in the backcourt by Ryerson, and they come back and convert with an attack off the top of the block.
That's the one thing about Coleman. No matter where he is on the court, he slows himself down, positions himself, and takes the good approach, and that's why he's so dominant.
Wojcik with a serve off the tape. Ellison sets into the middle, attacking error in the middle to number 9, Laurent Mayholt. And just a bit of an off timing there. The set from Ellison a little bit too heavy as Mayholt has to come across his body, but unable to convert, and the point goes to Ryerson. Wojcik still serving for the Rams. Ryerson taking a 3-2 lead. Topper serve, out of play. And again, Robert Wojcik a little bit too heavy, almost painting that back corner in the 5 spot, but just out of play there, and then we're at 3-3.
Exactly, very close to that back corner, just narrowly missed it.
So serving now will be Mayholt. And Agnostopoulos takes the set, and the swing from Wojcik goes off hands and out of play. And the swing, Robert Wojcik really heavy, going off the top of the hands and out of play. And it's a big point there for the Rams.
His swing is so strong, and like even off the block like that, you saw that ball fly out of bounds. So I mean, Wojcik so strong.
Topper from Coleman. Handled and serve received by Laval. Ellison back set to the far side. Giannini, no call on the top of the block. So another attacking error for Laval as Giannini looked as though he got into a great position to convert on the attack, but just a little bit too heavy, perhaps trying to touch it off the top of the block. That goes out of play, and Coleman continues to serve for Ryerson. Topper again from Lucas Coleman. Handled by Thibault. Ellison, far side Giannini. This time converts, finding a seam in the block. Set by Alex Dawson as Mark Reardon opts to pull off. and go for the solo block there for Dawson, and Giannini converts.
What a perfect pass up there by Thibault, as that went right to the setter Ellison, who perfect back set to Giannini, who wants to get going and help his team out.
Giannini with a standing float, and it's a bit heavy, and Agnostopoulos trying to save but can't get there. Ellison, pipe ball, attack, big swing from Laval. This time it's Bruno Lortie converting and capitalizing on the mistake from Ryerson.
Bruno Lortie, the guy we talked about in the pregame, and pretty quiet first set, but what a kill there as he looks to become more alive in this second set to help his team even up this match at 1.
Giannini, standing float. Picked up an Agnostopoulos, tries to get the set in the middle, set her out on this play. Coleman takes second hands, backcourt Wojcik, off the tape, handled by Giannini. Set up, Giannini again converting, finding it, cross court. And Ryerson is called on the net nonetheless, but a big attack from Giannini going cross court and finding that sideline.
Huge back row hit from Giannini there, and he's playing well. He has 5 kills already, so.
Giannini back to the service line again for Laval. Standing float, Otten finds an Agnostopoulos with the dump, and it goes in, and Laval called on the net. Great read by Agnostopoulos, anticipating the overbump, getting up over top of the tape and finding an open spot on the floor, and we're back tied at 6 apiece.
Such a smart play by the center there. You don't, so a ball tight like that, you don't want to try and save, so nice dump there, and it caught Laval off guard.
Set to the outside, getting it through the block there. The response by Vicente Parraguirre, and Laval retakes the lead. And again, you talked about the strength on the swing from Coleman and from Robert Wojcik, and equal to the task there was Parraguirre for Laval. Vicente Parraguirre, backcourt handled by Otten and Agnostopoulos. Pipe ball Coleman, and it's through. And another point for Ryerson, getting up over top of the block. And great response again from Ryerson, going back and forth here in this second set. And Agnostopoulos back to serve for the Rams. Jumping float serve, handled easily by Lortie. Try to run the quick in the middle, and they're going to call no touch. No, we're going to call double touch on Laval. There was a touch at the net from the Ryerson block, but a double touch on the attack from Laval gives another point to Ryerson, who retake the lead.
And the one thing you mentioned earlier is these consolation semifinals have the potential to go the distance, and you've seen here it's been back and forth since the start of this match.
Roll shot from Lortie, handled in the backcourt by the Rams. Otten takes second ball. Dawson with the attack, handled by Thibault. And tip over top, Otten, first ball, and Agnostopoulos sets pipe ball Coleman, and they're going to call him for a backcourt attack, just jumping over top of that attack line. And an easy call to make for the referee up at the top, and as we could see from our vantage point again, Coleman just a step 2 ahead of that attack line.
But still, he had the great mindset there to come from the back row, and sometimes you kind of lose track of your footing, and that's something you don't see happen to Lucas Coleman a lot, so see him to bounce back from it, and you never know what could happen.
Yeah, Coleman with great court awareness, but a little bit off there as set goes. Wojcik with the roll over top of the block. Handled nicely to the outside. Lortie with the attack, and the referee calls it inbounds. Painting that back line, you see Coleman arguing his case with the sideline official. The linesman in the corner there. And again, a lot of bodies in the way there. Tough to make that call, but the point does go to Laval, who retakes the lead.
And then the one thing you see about a tournament like this, there are 4 officials on the line, so each of them have their own line, so hard to argue with their call there.
Short serve into the net this time from Bruno Lortie. And again, he will make way for Thibault-Bernier coming into libero for the Laval Rouge. Coming in, trying to quarterback that backcourt for Laval. Sets even at 9 after the service error. Thibault picks up first ball, roll from Giannini. And up getting the touch at the net there was Ellison. And then Agnostopoulos sets to Coleman, double block, and it stays in play, but Laval is called on the net. So a tough break for the Rouge et Or, getting set up and getting the block set, but the point does go the way of Ryerson thanks to the net call.
And I mean, that's what you might see more from Laval, going up with that double, triple block sometimes to stop Coleman, because he's so dominant. Even setting up a double block for him is tough to stop.
Dawson, standing float, Ellison to the outside, and a big attack. Ryerson called on the net, but the swing is from Bruno Lortie, responding nicely. And as we've seen most of the season from him as well, a key part of that Laval Quebec Conference Championship that they won this year. Bruno Lortie, a big part of that. Ellison, jumping float. Handled by Otten, and Anagostopoulos finds Ofoa, and a great inside shoot set from Anagostopoulos finding Ofoa again. So tall at the net and so athletic, able to capitalize on those type of sets.
And that's the thing about him at the net. He likes to block, but he doesn't get set often, but when he does, he makes the most of it, as that's his 3rd kill on 3 total attacks.
But Ofoa giving the point back after the strong attack. Service error from Ryerson. Ofoa a little too heavy. Sails out of the court and will give ball and possession back to the Laval Rouge. Bruno Lortie back to serve for Laval. Lortie with a jump float, handled by Otten. And Anagostopoulos finds Reardon in the middle, but a great read on the block. Laurent Mayhold getting up with a great read for Laval.
It's a great read by him because he saw Reardon. You see when that set goes, your eyes get big, and he read it perfectly. He jumped and Reardon jumped in.
And a heavy serve this time from Lortie. Service error, trading back and forth, as Lortie a little too heavy on the serve as well, going out the back of the court. And we're tied at 12. Wojcik serving, and another hard topper coming from him. Takes a bit off of it. Thibault picks up first ball, and it's a good attack to the offside. Number 7, Olivier Giannini, capitalizing again for Laval. And we anticipated a heavy serve coming from Wojcik. Laval reading it as well, and great first ball up, allowing Laval to make the attack.
Exactly. Sometimes when you have that really tough topper, you like to take a little off it to kind of throw the team off, but Laval was ready for that one.
Backcourt attack, and a great read there from Laval. Sets to the offside to Giannini. Roll shot, and Anagostopoulos first ball. Taking hands is Dawson. Coleman with the push. Read in by a block, and Anagostopoulos. Set to the outside, and it goes off the block and out of play. Looking for a double touch on the set there is Pascal Clement. Not going to get it, calling the floor captain over to perhaps argue.
I mean, when you look at Dawson, he's very confident when he has to go up and get that double, that second hit, because if Anagostopoulos gets the first one and Otten can't reach it, seems like Dawson likes to take control and get it. That's his 2nd or 3rd time so far.
Heavy topper from Coleman, tight to the net. And the fix is there, but just a free ball over top from Laval. Anagostopoulos runs the backcourt attack to Wojcik. Picked up nicely by Thibault. Now to the outside, and it's number 5. Once again, Vicente Parraguirre on that left side for Laval. And a good response there from the Rouge et Or.
What a sip by Ellison, and what a read by Parraguirre to come, the ball coming from behind him, and to just put the power on it and get that one in. What a play.
So Giannini back to serve for Laval. And it's short into the net. And you can immediately see the regret on the touch there from Olivier Giannini. 4th year left side at a Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Short into the net, and the ball goes back to Ryerson.
And I mean, in a match like this where it's back and forth, you never want to give the team free points.
And a response the other way. Great set in the middle from Ellison, and the attack from the 6-7 middle, Hugo Leger. 15-14 the lead now for Laval as we approach the technical timeout. Ryerson leading the match 1-0 in the midway point of this 2nd set in consolation semifinal number 1. Again, between the Ryerson Rams and Laval Rouge et Or, both losers in the championship side yesterday. And Dawson with a response for the Rams. Harmless attack, but getting up over top of the block and finding that back corner. Good conversion there from Dawson on the left side.
That's the one thing I like about Dawson. He's very consistent, and he's not the guy, oh, I'm always going to put power on it. He reads the defense perfectly.
Thibault struggles with first ball, but it comes to the outside. And it's an attacking error once again. They do call the net. Laval looking for the touch, but they do call them on the net, and it's going to be the tech timeout in favor of Laval. 16-15 at the midway point of this first set for the Rouge et Or, looking to even it up at 1 set apiece.
Exactly. Both teams playing well in the 2nd set, basically going point for point. So technical timeout. Laval's up 16-15, so we'll see who wants it more, really, as this Laval was up at the end of the technical timeout last set, so we'll see what happens.
So a critical juncture here if you're the Laval Rouge, or if you go down 2-0. So again, 1-0 the lead for the Rams. Get a couple of looks at some second set highlights. Lucas Coleman with the serve receive there, and a great swing from Wojcik on the offside. And a nice scramble play there. The Laval defense unable to scramble and pick the ball up. Attack off the tape from Ryerson, and an attacking error in the middle. And that was from number 9, Laurent Mayhold. And again, a lot of highlights there in that first part of the second set for the Rams, but it is Laval in the lead coming out of the technical timeout, 16-15, as they try to even the matchup at a set apiece. And again, as Kyle and I alluded to, in these consolation semifinals and most games in this CIS National Championship, we can anticipate going the distance, as we have 8 of the best programs in Canada. Leggat with the serve, and Agnostopoulos finds Ofoa off the head of Mayhold. Set's picked up. Ellison to the outside. Goes off hands. Recycle again. Ellison taking first ball. Second hands to the backcourt. Parraguirre. And Agnostopoulos sets the ball straight up. Dawson off the top of the hands. And that's handled by Leggat. Parraguirre, roll shot from Giannini. Handled again in the backcourt, and Agnostopoulos goes to the outside. Dawson with the push finds the backcourt. Ellison. Roll. Giannini. Big attack for Laval. And a great rally both sides of the net. But it is a final attack from Olivier Giannini that gives another point to Laval as they extend their lead to 2, up 17-15, with Leggat back to serve.
Oliver Giannini, just from anywhere on the court. You saw that roll shot before that. He's very dominant. He just gets the ball over whenever he can.
Another service error there from Laval. Leggat too heavy on the play. Gives a free point back to the Rams, who are back within a single point. 17-16, the lead for the Ontario runners-up. Dawson with a heavy serve back the other way, and that's a service error. And again, the teams trade points. 2-point lead restored for Laval, and 2 quick points on 2 service errors, for 1 for each team.
Exactly. When your team gets that service error to benefit you, the last thing you want to do is give the point right back.
And it's like, once again, 3 service errors in a row, this time from Ellison short into the net. And as we see, Brandon Jordan coming in to serve. And I don't think we're going to see a service error on this attempt here from the Rams serving specialist.
No, not at all. Especially there's a lot more pressure on you when you come off the bench just to serve. But Brandon Jordan loves his serve, and very effective serve as well.
Ellison to the outside. Giannini, double block. Wojcik deflects it in. Reardon on the point as well. And a great run there by the Rams, reading the set coming out to Giannini. And we're tied at 18.
Exactly. After those 3 service errors, we finally got a little rally. And what a way for the Rams to tie this one up at 18.
Jordan with that effective jump float serve. Tough to handle on first ball. Parraguirre sees it there. Ellison outside to Giannini. This time finding a seam. Reads the outside of the set, or outside of the block there from Reardon, and goes to the empty 5-hole. And it's a good response there if you're the Laval Rouge, as Uchenna Ofoa subbing back in, and will give way to Will Otten. Going to handle libero and serve receive responsibilities here on the serve coming from Lortie.
You can't talk enough about Brandon Jordan, though. Someone who's on the bench, just comes in whenever to serve and gets his serves in. So what a play by someone like Jordan.
Agnostopoulos scrambles to get the second ball. It's a roll shot from Lucas Coleman, but Giannini, a sloppy touch on the block there, unable to get to that ball in the backcourt there was Laval, and we're tied again at 19.
It looked like Ethan Ellison was there, ready for that ball, but he just took a step to his left, thinking it was going to go there, and got deflected at the net.
Wojcik strong serve off the tape, but it's heavy, and it's easily picked up. Parraguirre. Giannini with the attacking error. No call at the net, as Giannini getting well over top, hitting the ball a little bit higher after getting that double block his last swing through. And that's going to force Laval to call a timeout as they trail 20-19.
Exactly. When Giannini went up for that one, I don't think he was looking for the touch at the net, because the amount of power he put on that ball sailed well out of bounds.
So Giannini again converting his previous attack after being double blocked at the net, but this time coming from the offside, seeing similar blockers up there. Height advantage at the net for Ryerson for sure, but Giannini getting into a position where he's trying to convert and make an attack and earn a point back for his team. but the Rams taking a little bit off their block, getting hands out of contact, and the ball sails well wide. And it's a point now for the Rams, who are up 20-19, and they haven't really had the lead much in this second set, but now, as we approach the final 5 points to set point, they could be in the driver's seat.
Even in the first set, they didn't really have the lead until after that technical timeout. So if you're Laval, you don't want that to happen to you again. So we'll see how they receive Wojcik's serve here.
Heavy topper, Robert Wojcik, handled by Thibault. Great pass on serve receive. Ellison with an even better set, but he's called on the net. Ellison's back, making contact as he tried to square up and set the ball to the offside. You have to give full credit on serve receive there to Thibault, but perhaps just a little bit too tight.
Great effort by Ellison to do all he can. A great set too, and it looks like it caught Ryerson off guard there, as they only would have sent up the single block on Giannini. So
Wojcik again with that heavy topper. Great serve, and it's a great pass again. Ellison this time converting, and it's a push, but the touch goes in play. Giannini trying to get the power tip. It's read by a block and deflects to the open floor, and once again, we're going to see Pascal Clement calling a timeout. 22-19 in favor of the Rams.
And you see how pumped up Ryerson is now, up 3, and Laval walked to the bench after that timeout call. They just don't look into it anymore. After 3 straight points going for the Rams, they're out of it. So we'll see if they get pumped up after this timeout. Is only 3 points away, and you know in volleyball you can get 3 points just like that.
Well, and Laval Rouge are going to have to cut into the deficit. They are first attack right now, service with the Ryerson Rams, but it's a heavy topper from, again, Robert Wojcik, who's made a career out of that topper serve. A lot of power, and it's very difficult, if converted, for serve receive to make that pass on first ball and make it easy for the setter to make a play and run the offense. Ellison has done a good job as Thibault with great touch on first ball. We'll see if Wojcik can filter away from the Laval libero in this serve. Topper once again goes right to the backcourt to Lorty, comes to the outside. Parraguirre with the attack. Goes cross court, and that's the response that Laval needed to get, and now into serve will be Hugo Alexandre Paradis, as Laval can no longer afford any service errors.
Laval down to nearing the end of the second set. Got to get every serve in, as they all have 7 service errors in this match.
Paradis, handled by Coleman, and Agristopoulos drops to the ground, and it's a roll shot over top again by Wojcik, and unable to handle the backcourt roll is Bruno Lorty. And now again, Brett Whitley coming in to serve for the Rams, providing that extra inch of height. And we're gonna get a timeout from Dustin Reed, as he's gonna look and see what he can find on the other side of the net from Laval, as he got Hugo Leger at the net. A big height edge for Laval right now, 6'7" middle in Leger, and perhaps that's why Dustin Reed calling the timeout, to see what he can draw up on the defensive side of things, or on the offensive side of things, perhaps with Whitley at the net.
Exactly, he's trying to plan out differently. As you've seen, Laval has had success when Adam Agristopoulos goes up the block, so we'll see what happened, because you saw last set they went right at Whitley, and it worked out for Laval, and they're in need of points right now, down 3. So we'll see what they do here.
Well, again, they have Hugo Leger at the net right now on that left side. Will switch over to the middle after the first sequence. Likely going to swing from that left side here with Ellison. But Coleman taking the serve, Lucas Coleman. Number 14, the left side for Ryerson. It's a roll. Come to the outside, and the touch does work there. Whitley at the net. And this time goes cross court, reading it outside. Reardon framing the block inside for Ryerson, and it's a very pivotal attack there from number 5, Vicente Parraguirre, and then Agristopoulos right back in.
So you had to think in that timeout, they were talking about what happens if they go at Whitley at the net, and it looks like they did there, and it worked out once for the Rams, but Laval went back at it. Nice hit there to angle it away from the block.
Otten struggling on serve receive, and it's attacking error from Dawson. Back-to-back points for Laval, and the timeout working for Pascal Clement's team right now. And it's going to be a timeout the other way for Dustin Reed. 23-22 now the lead. Laval on serve at the moment, so first chance to attack for the Rams. And you have to think that they're going to try to draw something up and get a different look at the net.
And when you think about it too, this is the worst time possible for a service error, serve reception error. So in these timeouts, I think the coaches are just telling their team to buckle down. 2 points away for the Rams for this set to take a commanding 2-0 lead. But if you're Laval, you're only 3 points away from tying this match up at 1 apiece. So you see how big these next couple points are.
So heading into this serve, if you're Laval, do you try to be aggressive with the serve and try to garner an ace or an overbump on serve receive? Or do you play it safe, make sure the ball is played in and try to win it at the net? And now you see number 1, Jean-Philippe Desjardins, a 6'8" middle coming in to give more height at the net, and we can see from that Laval thinking for the block here.
Exactly. And that's what you got to do if you're the coach. You got to put in different players, and we've seen both coaches sub in taller players for their setters, which might work out in their advantage.
Otten gets the first ball, and it's a good one. Anagnostopoulos sets to the backcourt, and the block is there. Scramble on the recycle. Anagnostopoulos again. Dawson, and the block is there. And who is it? The number 17, Hugo Leger, combining on the block with Desjardins. And it's 6'7", 6'8", combining, and we're tied at 23.
And I mean, we were just talking about that presence, 6'8" and 6'7" at the net instead of the setter, Ethan Ellison, who's 5'11". So it just shows you how effective it is.
Over bump again, and it's touched in the middle. And they're going to give the point to Laval. 4 straight points for the Rouge et Or, and this now set point for Laval.
Just like what we were talking about, Ryerson was 2 points away from taking a commanding lead, but now Laval serving for the set to tie this one up at 1.
It's Olivier Giannini once again, not an overly aggressive serve, gets a bit of a jump float in. And it's handled by Coleman. Anagnostopoulos to the outside. Wojcik picked up. Great job there by Thibault. Second hands in the middle by Desjardins. Cross court. Great pickup on the other side by Otten, and it's Wojcik again. Roll shot. And it rolls out of bounds. And 5 straight points, down 23-20. Laval battling tooth and nail. Great run by them. And they win the second set 25-23. And full credit goes to head coach Pascal Clement. Great, well-timed timeout. And the tide certainly turned for Laval at the end of that second set.
Wow, what a comeback by Laval. And like you said, coach, he's in his 24th year, so I think he knows a little bit about who to put in and when. And you see there, but great up by the libero Thibault, who got that crazy Wojcik hit up. And then you see a set by Desjardins, who came in for the setter, so he's got to take his spot. He got the set up, and what an overall final push by Laval.
So we'll get a look at some of the second set highlights there. Very Ryerson heavy in the first half of the set, but Laval turning it on there in the second. Get a couple of looks there. Giannini with a strong attack on that right side, finding the empty six-pack. And again, it was a great push by Laval there to close out the second set. The swing again from Giannini, met by a double block and deflects to the open floor. Roll shot goes off the hands there from Lucas Coleman, and a great conversion there for Ryerson. There's again a lot of heavy hitters on both sides of the net here for either team, and a lot of choreography on the offense from each team. Will Otten scrambling there, trying to get that ball on the cross-court attack from Parraguirre. But again, full credit goes to Laval, staying with it. They were down 23-20, 2 points away from going down 2-0 in this quarter, or this consolation semifinal matchup with the Ryerson Rams. But again, the timeout and the switch at the net, getting a lot more height in as you pull Ellison off. And full credit again goes to JP Desjardins, a 6'8" middle who took second ball as if he was a 5'8" setter.
Yeah, I mean, he did that perfectly, got the set out, and what a run by Laval. As they didn't panic. They were down 23-20 on the ropes because they could have been their backs against the wall, down 2-0, but they fought back. 5 straight points, like you said, and now it's basically a best-of-3 match.
So as we anticipated in the early stages of this match, likely going to go the distance here. You could see one team pull through. That could be a full momentum swinger there if you're the Laval Rouge et Or, coming back from that and going from being possibly down 2-0 to being pulled even with momentum heading into the third set. And while it is tough to gauge and look ahead to future sets, but you would think that the team coming out of this third set unscathed and grabbing that 2-1 victory would be in the best position, obviously, to get the victory here and compete for that 5th place title.
And the one thing we've seen so far through these first 2 sets is up until that technical timeout, it's very back and forth. 1 point Ryerson, 1 point Laval. But then after that technical timeout, that's when the teams go on their little runs, the streaks, and I think that 5-point advantage for Laval in the end, that streak is probably one of the longest we've seen so far in this match.
So again, if you are just joining us, thank you for tuning in to CIS TV for the CIS 2016 Men's Volleyball National Championship here in Hamilton, Ontario, the campus of McMaster University and Burridge Gymnasium. I am Kyle Campo, joined alongside by Kyle Ryan, and we will be calling the rest of this match for you, and we'll be around for the rest of the broadcast for the National Championship. As we get set for set number 3, and it's a float serve from Ellison. Test to the outside, and Coleman right away getting the Rams on the board. No blocks going up, and when that happens on the other side, Lucas Coleman's eyes widening up, finding an empty spot on the floor.
That's every hitter's dream, to go up for the attack and see no blockers, but what a way to respond if you're the Rams. You lose a tough second set, but you come out strong, so you take the early lead.
Set goes into the middle this time. With the backcourt attack from Reardon, too heavy, trying to get the roll shot and find the back corner, but a little bit too flat on the attack and goes well out the back of the court.
Like there, Reardon tried to do a little too much there, but he comes off, gets a high fry from his coach, Dustin Reed. That one just, you said, sailed well long.
Bruno Lorty, a jump float, handled by Dawson, a little too heavy, and Agnostopoulos faking the touch there. Dawson getting up, and Agnostopoulos' second ball comes to the outside. Coleman, double block, but it's out of play. Lucas Coleman with a great angle on the attack, goes off hands and out past the sideline. Good read there by the outside hitter for the Ryerson Rams.
And when you think of Coleman, very veteran-like player, but he's only in his 3rd year, so still lots of potential.
Coleman involved with the Volleyball Canada program, and it's a big serve from Wojcik. Can't handle the touch there is Vincent Thibault-Bernier. And a service error, or service ace there for the Rams, and a service error for the Laval Rouge. Wojcik continues to serve. Hard topper. Takes a bit off of it. Thibault can't handle that one. Ofoa with the touch. And the overbump looking Uchenna Ofoa right in the eyes. And gets up and hammers that ball. And you talk about his offensive efficiency. You see it once again there from Ofoa.
So efficient at the net. Every chance he gets, and an opportunity like that, he's never going to miss. So dominant at the net.
Wojcik with a heavy serve again, and it's right back over on the overbump. And Agnostopoulos, touch from Dawson, and a wasted opportunity there if you're the Rams. Trying to catch the blockers off guard at the net from Laval, but Dawson just trying to perhaps get the ball over the net, maybe not anticipating that back set. And again, a bit of a wasted opportunity if you're Ryerson.
Exactly, especially when that ball gets sent over to you nice and easy. Just caught Dawson off guard.
Great anticipation there from Ofoa on the tape serve. As Ellison takes second ball, and it's a read there off the block. Great swing by Vicente Parraguirre. And the Laval Rouge back within a single point. And great anticipation and great volleyball sense from both sides in the early stages of this third set.
Ryerson was up 4-1, but that seems to be like the teams aren't pulling away from each other early on as Laval came back into this one.
And a heavy attack on the backcourt from Wojcik, but it's a little bit too wide as he tries to go right to left. Pulls it a little bit too much, and 3 straight points for Laval. Has Mayholt continuing to serve, and it's 4-4. Dropping 4 back into serve receive, hiding 1, so 3 for Ryerson as Dawson makes the fix. And then Agnostopoulos with an unorthodox back set there, but it's a pipe ball attack, goes off the arms of Dawson and out of play. Good creativity there by Adam and Agnostopoulos, but the Rams can't convert, and it's a power swing on the left side by the Laval Rouge.
Seems like the story of this match has been runs and which team goes on farther runs, and you see Laval 4 straight points, so they're feeling it now.
Mayholt with the serve, comes to the outside. Coleman, cross court. Lucas Coleman gets over top of the block and unable to get the touch up is Laurent Mayhold, 6'7" middle from Rouen-Noranda, Quebec, trying to bend down and pick that ball up. And now he'll give way to Vincent Thibault-Bernier, who at 5'11", a little bit more flexibility and ease getting down to the ground. And it's a strong serve by Coleman, but it's saved by Thibault. Great job scrambling, getting to the ball. And it's a free ball back the other way. Ryerson needs to convert. They go to Ofoa off the top. Second hand's taken. Roll shot by Giannini, easily picked up by Will Otten. Now Coleman with the tip over top. Giannini takes, and Laval called on the net. And a spoiled opportunity for Laval as you see Thibault-Bernier scrambling, getting in behind the A-frames there and keeping that ball alive, and Laval in an opportunity to win the point, but it does go to Ryerson.
What a great effort there. You see the boards, and he had to reach over that and get that one up.
Serve receive picked up. Roll shot Giannini, but a little bit too heavy, or make that Parraguirre a little bit too heavy out the back. And that'll be another point for the Rams. Lucas Coleman back into serve for Ryerson. Hard topper, and it's picked up in the backcourt. Ellison sets in the middle. Coleman picks it up. Anagostopoulos, backcourt set. Wojcik with a roll over top of the block. Ellison sets to the far side. Heavy attack off the block and out of play. Great read there by Vicente Parraguirre, swinging into the block on that right side and deflects off hands and out of play. Point goes to Laval.
Exactly. Looks like Laval got what they wanted there. They got Anagostopoulos to go for the block by himself.
Olivier Giannini back to serve. Otten handles serve receive. A touch in the middle to Ofoa. Off the face there of Bernier, or Thibault-Bernier, and unable to scramble to get the ball over there is Giannini. And a response point the other way for Ryerson, and it's back to a 2-point edge, 8-6 for the Rams. Serve receive, handled. Push from Ellison to the outside off the top of the block. Coleman gets a touch, but unable to keep it in the court, and it goes out of play. Point goes to Laval on a heavy attack on the left side.
And you see that happen quite often when the ball goes back towards the back line. The team drifts to the ball, so you saw Wojcik there go towards it when Coleman got it up, and it went right to where Wojcik was. So tough play all around, but great effort by the Rams.
Parraguirre, deep serve. Otten handles first ball. Anagostopoulos to Wojcik down the line. Picked up nicely. Giannini takes second hands, and a huge attack out of the pipe for the Laval Rouge. Vicente Parraguirre finishing the play off. Full credit on second hands to number 7, Olivier Giannini. And a great sequence by Laval, who pull even. It's 8-8.
Exactly. Giannini with a great set there. Unexpected, you could kind of say, as you thought you saw Ethan Ellison go for that one as well.
Dawson, backcourt attack, too heavy from Alex Dawson as he tries to perhaps go off the top of the block and out of play, unable to convert there. And now Laval with the lead on a run of 3 points for them. Vicente Parraguirre back to serve for Laval. Jump float from him, a little bit short, and it goes off the arms of Lucas Coleman and out of play. Lucas Coleman perhaps not anticipating receiving first ball. Goes off his arms and out of play. A pretty uncharacteristic mistouch on serve receive from him.
You see, he's so dominant in the back row, but that jump float sometimes is so hard to handle because you never know which way the ball is going to go.
Jump, floater again. Unable to handle, and it's a great direction at the net from Bruno Lortie. And now it's Laval with some momentum, and it's a timeout from Dustin Reed and the Ryerson Rams, as it's 5 straight, just as we saw at the end of set number 2. The Laval Rouge going on a 5-point stretch, and now hold a middle of the set lead, 11-8. Still early, and still plenty of time for the Rams to respond. Again, as we've alluded to a number of times, and Kyle talked about it a little bit, so many offensive weapons if you're the Ryerson Rams, and they need to capitalize now. But looking on the other side of the net, Laval with as many, if not more, weapons. And it's going to be a battle all the way through. And what do you do now if you're Dustin Reed and the Rams in this timeout?
You just got to talk and have have them have that mindset to go back to how well they attacked in the first set, because when you look at the numbers, their efficiency was at .481. Then in the second set, it dropped to .286. So a huge difference there, and you see Laval definitely capitalizing on that.
481 attack in that opening set, a ridiculous number for the Ryerson Rams. Obviously going to retreat a little bit, but perhaps not as much as anticipated. Heavy serve, and it's handled again by Coleman, but it's a missed touch. Having to scramble on third touch as Dawson gets to it. Ellison to the outside. Big attack over top of the block by Laval, and it's Bruno Lortie once again. And after a quiet opening set, Bruno Lortie, who we talked about off the top, really coming up big now for Laval.
Exactly. Everything going Laval's ways. They're up 4. So they're playing a much better game than they did yesterday against the Golden Bears.
Otten takes serve receive, and Agnostopoulos finds in the middle, has to cover underneath. Otten taking second ball. Dawson gets the attack in, but that's handled nicely by Laval. Outside attack goes off a couple, and it's going to be a touch on Bruno Lortie on the left side, swinging off the block, and then a double touch back the other way. And now subbing in for the Laval Rouge will be number 1, Brendan Kewen, who's going to replace Dawson, who's had a bit of a tough set number 3.
Yeah, he played really well in that first set, well in half of that second set, but then towards the end, things just didn't go his way. And if you're Ryerson, you got to climb back into this one, and service errors like that definitely aren't going to help.
Yeah, short serve there from Adam and Agnostopoulos going directly into the net. We talked about Dawson, had a couple that went out the back, one into a block. So maybe losing a little bit of confidence in its attack, and Dustin Reed making the sub and bringing Kewen in is more than suitable as a replacement as they run the quick in the middle to Mark Reardon, who with his height getting well over top of the block, especially when it's unanticipated and can't get that first jump. Plenty of floor to work with there for Reardon, and he gets a point back for the Rams.
Exactly. And what a play by Adam Agnostopoulos there to miss that serve, but then come back on the next point, run to the net from the back row and get that quick to Reardon.
Swing from the backcourt there from Laval, and it's number 5 again, Vicente Parraguirre. He gets his 16th point of this match for Laval. One of the big factors in Laval's success this season, Vicente Parraguirre, but Lucas Coleman up to the task on the other side of the net. Big swing into the block as you see Giannini combining with Hugo Leger there in the middle. They make that Melholt, and that's a big point there if you're the Ryerson Rams, within 3, and they'll try to trim it to even more as we approach the tech timeout. Reardon with the serve. Ellison with the set, and they're going to be called underneath the net. Foot crossing underneath the middle line there, underneath the net, and that's a free point for the Rams. And now they have to capitalize and perhaps try to get a block here and pull to within 1.
What a strong play there by Coleman and go forward to split up and each go for a single block there. And yeah, you saw Laval get called for the net, but they still got the block after that play happened. So Laval, Ryerson fighting back into this one, but they're still down 3.
Service error there for Reardon. 15-12 the lead now for Laval. And Agnostopoulos finds Ofoa, and the push goes out of play. Missed time on the set in the middle to Uchenna Ofoa. And that takes us to the third set. Technical timeout. Laval going on a bit of a run, leading 16-12. And obviously an unofficial midway point of a set at this 16-point technical timeout. But I wonder what the percentages look like in terms of teams that win the set after leading at the tech timeout. You'd think that they'd be a little bit higher than you would anticipate, as that 16-point mark does serve as a pretty decent indication sometimes of how the rest of the set is going to go, especially with a 4-point buffer like Laval has right now.
Exactly, and this is the third set. This is also the third time that Laval has been leading at the technical timeout. So they're the first team to get there, and we saw in the first set, they kind of fell apart for a second, but that second set they were up at the technical timeout. Lost it a bit, then fought back, but this is their biggest advantage they've had at the technical timeout so far. So we'll see how they come out of the technical timeout again.
So coming out of the tech timeout, Laval holding a 4-point lead, 16-12. And again, if you are the Ryerson Rams, you do need to make a push at this point and close in before Laval can make a further push. But it is 16-12 in favor of the Laval Rouge, and right off the top, a service error from Laval, and that gives a free point back to the Rams, who trail by 3.
Exactly, and that's exactly what you want for the Rams. Down 4, and they're gonna miss a serve like that. You gotta take advantage of it, and take advantage of it now.
Wojcik with the serve, goes off the tape. Push outside from Ellison, and it's a big attack again on the left side. And who else but number 5, Vicente Parraguirre, who nets his 17th point in 2.5 sets.
He's having so much success attacking today compared to yesterday. So, like I said earlier, it's a lot about his confidence as well. Once you get a few kills going, your confidence is going to get up, and you're just going to want to swing more and more.
And you see the referee there not allowing Laval to make a substitution, perhaps a little bit too late, and that's going to be a delay of game warning here on Laval. So that will go down in the books. No point violation there for Laval, but definitely a delay of game warning. And they do show the yellow card as the up official warning Laval for a delay of game in that late attempt at a substitution. Handled by Ryerson in the backcourt, and it's a good read by Lucas Coleman, pushing the ball cross court, but goes off hands and well out of play. And a good deflection there if you're Lucas Coleman.
Exactly. You see the second part of the double walk there came up a little late, and you see as his hands were coming up, Coleman hit it, and right off his hands, deflected well out of bounds.
Great serve this time from Coleman, and it's an ace for the Rams. Missed touch on first ball there from Thibault, and unable to scramble and get to it on second there was Ellison. And this is the time where the Rams need to push, and they're within 2, trailing by 4 at the Tech, so they've made up 2 points. And Coleman needs another strong serve here. Topper up from Lucas Coleman off the tape. Handled up, and it's an over bump, and now an opportunity for the Rams to run. Coleman backcourt! What a pipe ball run by the Rams. And who else to go to but number 14? And as we saw in the OUA Final Four, a big pipe ball from Stephen Marr, who runs so well with the McMaster Marauders. Not quite as much force on it there, but Coleman running it perfectly. And the Rams are within 1.
Exactly. We see how effective that pipe ball was. I was there for that OUA Final Four championship, and Stephen Marr, just unbelievable player to watch live. You can watch on TV, but once you're in the gym, when he hits from the back row behind the attack line, he ends up under the net, so it almost turns out like a front row hit for him.
So 17-16 the lead at the moment for the Laval Rouge, holding a 1-point lead now on the Ryerson Rams. Laval calling the timeout. And again, this is set number 3, tied at a set apiece heading into this third set. And again, if you are just joining us, you are watching the CIS Men's National Volleyball Championship here at the Burris Gymnasium on the campus of McMaster University. This, the consolation semifinal number 1. The victor here moving on to tomorrow's 5th place matchup. The loser will have their season come to an end. As the set on serve receive goes to the outside, and Uchenna Ofoa with a bit of a Dikembe Mutombo finger wag there at the net, getting the deflection in. And it's a big point there if you're the Rams, and they're now even making up those 4 points at the Tech.
And I mean, that was kind of the story from the first 2 sets. Laval taking advantage of going and getting their attacks on the side where the setter went up to block, and you see great play there to get the block.
And the swing on the right side comes from Robert Wojcik. Was an A-ball or C-ball getting set out to him. And that C-ball being run so effectively for the Rams in this game, as Robert Wojcik, such a heavy attacker, gets to another one there, and now the Rams take the lead 18-17. Coleman, serve off the tape. Ellison takes second ball to the outside, and it's a block that gets through. Ofoa gets up, but power on the attack there from Olivier Giannini, getting through and deflects to the open floor, and we're even again at 18.
Exactly. What a run by Ryerson. 6-2 run they were on there to knot things up at 18, and every set so far has come down to the wire.
Giannini back to serve for Laval. Jumping float, handled by Otten. It's an over bump. And off the top of the hands, and it's a big swing from Leggat. Great read, anticipating Ofoa jumping up with him. And now Laval back in the lead. So Uchenna Ofoa trying to get up and get the block, but Leggat with the attack on the overbump gets the point for Laval. And now Giannini with the serve. Otten takes first ball, and Agnostopoulos comes to the outside to Brendan Kewitt. Picked up there by Thibault, set to the outside. And an attack just called inbounds as you see Will Otten and the Rams bench reacting to what they thought was an attack that went out of bounds. Now you see Dustin Reed giving it up to the linesman, making the right call, just painting the sideline, and it's now a 2-point edge for Laval. Olivier Giannini continuing to serve for the Rouge et Or. Jumping float again. Otten gets to first ball. And it's Wojcik once again on the A-ball. C-ball, excuse me. I've called it the A-ball a number of times in this set. C-ball from Wojcik. Getting up to it. And it's a big attack for the Rams, and they now lead by trail by a single point, 20-19. Ofoa to serve. Short serve, Uchenna Ofoa, not the time for that. A short service error goes into the net, and not even a topper. He's a jump float type of server, and those are the ones you need to convert, but perhaps trying to catch the Laval defense napping and go short.
Exactly, Laval up to here, and missed serves always seem to be the key. Just like missed free throws in basketball, always seem to be the key when a game comes down to the wire.
So a timeout now called by the Ryerson Rams as they trail by 3 points. 22-19 the lead now for Laval. And after conceding that run and allowing Ryerson to get back in the set and actually take the lead, so making up those 5 points, it's now a 3-point edge again for the Laval Rouge et Or. And now if you're Dustin Reed and the Rams coaching staff, just continuing to reiterate to the players, the set goes to 25. We saw a late run by Laval to win the second set as they ripped off 5 straight points at 23 down and won the set 25-23.
Exactly, so kind of like the same spot. Ryerson was up 23-20 last set. They ended up losing 25-23, and now Laval is up 22-19. So now it's just a matter of how bad you want it if you're Ryerson.
So coming out of the timeout, 22-19 the lead in favor of the Laval Rouge et Or. Laval holding serve, and it will be number 5, Vicente Parraguirre, who again, huge in this game, 18 points for Laval so far as we approach the end of set number 3 with plenty more to go. The jumping float from Parraguirre handled by Otten, and Agnostopoulos has to go to his arms, and the attacking error from Kewen short into the net. And just a bit of a disaster from start to finish on that set from Ryerson as Agnostopoulos unable to get to his hands on second ball, and that's a bit of a nightmare when you're trying to attack.
Exactly, especially when you're down. The last thing you want is 2 attacking errors like that, and from the past 2, straight into the bottom of the net.
And this time, great set from Agnostopoulos to find Reardon in the middle, but it's picked up by Thibault. Set first ball by Kewen. And Agnostopoulos, pipe ball again, just out of play, and they are going to call a touch. So the pipe ball goes to Lucas Coleman. Great swing from the backcourt, but touch at the net from Laval, and that's a big point for Ryerson.
Yeah, Lucas Coleman, anywhere on the court, he's so dominant, so much power, and his volleyball sense too. He knows when to crush the ball and when to take a little off it. So what a volleyball player, only in his 3rd year as well.
Jimmy Asselin coming in on serve receive here for Laval as Thibault takes first ball. Ellison able to get to it, roll shot over top, just out of play. Great positioning by Laval, but unable to convert. Attacking error for the Rouge et Or, just going wide of the court. And now, just like that, back-to-back points. Ryerson within 2. And Agnostopoulos, jumping float, a little bit short. Ellison going to forearms, roll shot, double block. Great pickup by Thibault. Roll shot the other way, and this time the block, Reardon. And a bit of a scramble by Laval, but a good defensive pickup there by Vincent Thibault-Bernier, who's been excellent in this game. And that's going to force Laval to take a timeout as Ryerson back within 1. And as we've seen all the way through this match, sets going back and forth and right down to the wire, as you alluded to earlier, Kyle.
Exactly. 3 straight points for the Rams. So now they're within 1, and it's like the same storyline we had last set. Laval 2 points away from taking that 2-1 lead, and that's a a very nice lead you like to have is you only need to win one more set and you put your opponent's back against the ball. But then you look at it, Ryerson has the momentum right now. Only down only down 1, 3 points away from the set. So I mean, the key coming down to always end of the set is who wants it more. Which team's gonna come out and execute from the fundamentals, the pass up, the set, and the kill. So like you said earlier, always comes down to the volleyball fundamentals.
Anagastopoulos with the floater, a little bit tight to the net. Almost a touch from Kewen, and the attacking error goes out the back of the court on the swing on the offside from Olivier Giannini. And now we're going to get a substitution for Laval back in, as we're going to see Asselin coming back out. And in serve receive, perhaps now if you're Laval, you can't rely solely on defense. You're going to have to swing out of that backcourt again, which is why we see the attack on the left side and goes off the block, but it's going to the Rams. Laval called on the net in a tough call by the down official if you're Laval. And you see immediately going over to talk to the official is Thibault-Bernier, the floor captain for the Rouge et Or, as he's trying to get a call on the number. But that's a tough break for Laval, and now it's set point Ryerson.
What a play there. As you see, Coleman dove back for that one, and then when he saw the point was awarded to Ryerson, he had a big smile on his face.
And a scramble on serve receive, going outside the court, unable to bring it back in. And a turn of the tide once again. Ryerson down, looking down and out in that in the end of that third set, but they rally back, take the set number 3, 25-23, and now they're up 2-1 heading into set number 4. 6
straight points for the Rams to close that out, and that's great effort on the Rams part, but huge collapse for Laval. You're up 23-19. And just great match so far, we can say, as the storyline for both teams has been who wants it more and who's coming back more. But if you're watching this online or on cable, it doesn't come together without the help from our entire production crew. Us to the desk, we just bring it to you. It's our camera operators on the floor, our camera operators up there. You see Lucas Court, the big handheld cameraman, flexing for the camera there on one handheld. Eric Bruno, another big guy on the handheld here. And when you look at it, that I've done handheld before, and it does take a lot on you. And the camera operators up on the sticks, everyone in the truck, from our producer Cameron McKay, our assistant producer Spencer Halliday, our director Dylan Dvorak, everyone bringing this together. Our switcher Justin Burns, I'm sorry if I'm forgetting anyone. Tough to remember all the names and who's on what position, but thank you to everyone for bringing this to you guys all across the country here.
Get a look at some of the highlights there in set number 3. It was a dandy that ended up going the way of the Ryerson Rams, and they now hold a 2-1 set lead in this match. And what was basically a mirror image of what happened at the end of set number 2. But this time Laval unable to close out the set, and Ryerson rallying back to get back in this match, and they now retake the lead. But again, as we have talked about a number of times off the top of the broadcast, these two teams so well evenly matched, and we're likely to see a 5-set thriller go here unless Ryerson can up their intensity and continue to push here and get through and get the match victory here and compete in tomorrow's 5th place match, who will be in the winner of the next match between the Waterloo Warriors, the 3rd seed out of Ontario, who qualify for this championship, who lost to McMaster in the quarterfinal yesterday, and the UNB Varsity Reds, the winner of the AUS conference, dropped their match in 5 to the Saskatchewan Huskies, who are the 3rd seed out of Can West.
What a match that was yesterday. Our only 5-setter of the quarterfinal round, and that one was so back and forth. Could have went any way, but Saskatchewan pulled away in that 5th set.
Waterloo not as lucky, drawing the number 1 seed and the host McMaster. If you were at the Burridge Gymnasium last night, the atmosphere so electric here. Marauders faithful, Marauder Nation coming out in droves and showing up, cheering on the number 1 ranked team in the country, number 1 ranked team in the tournament. And if you're a McMaster Marauder volleyball fan, have to be excited for tonight's matchup against the Saskatchewan Huskies.
Exactly. I was here watching the game last night. The atmosphere, everyone had noisemakers, vuvuzelas to the cowbells, and a bunch of people were here. And it must be nice for the Marauders to play at home.
Ryerson starting with serve in set 4. Giannini with the attack goes into the block. Ellison taking second hands. Goes to the outside, and it's a great attack or block once again by Ryerson. Going to forearms, Giannini roll shot. Touched up by Anagostopoulos. Second hands in the backcourt for Ryerson, and it drops to the open floor. Perhaps Will Otten's ball to take as the libero, but can't cross that attack line to make an attack. If he stays on his feet, not a problem, but as he looks to Alex Dawson for some kind of confirmation to see what went wrong on that play.
And I mean, in the fourth set of such a close game, someone's got to call that and someone's got to put it over.
Perfect response for the Rams, though. Another inside set there for Adam Anagostopoulos, who continues to have a brilliant afternoon here at Burridge Gymnasium, finding Mark Reardon in the middle, and those two with great chemistry there. Dawson with the serve. It's a jump float. Ellison going second hands with the forearms. Thibault gets underneath to pick it up. Ellison roll to the outside. Giannini with the attack goes into the block of Coleman and Reardon, but it goes off hands and out of play. Great read there by Giannini on the offside.
Something we've seen so far for the Rams in this set. They've been setting up a double block, and they've gotten hands on the ball almost every time, so look to see if they're going to continue to do that.
Short serve into the net by Laval. It's number 9, Laurent Mayholt, as he is short into the net. Tough afternoon for the number 9 middle for Laval, only converting 2 out of 6 with 1 attacking error and an attacking percentage of just .167. But Thibault handles first ball. They come to the outside, and it's number 5, Vicente Parraguirre, who again continues to be the security blanket, continues to be the outlet for the Laval Rouge, as he's now accumulated 19 points.
19 kills for him, and very effective today. As you saw, he struggled last game, so must be nice for him, and he must be happy to finally get things going for him at the CIS Nationals.
Service ace going this time to Giannini, as Lucas Coleman struggling again on serve receive. Goes off his forearms and well out of play. Not a chance for Ryerson to scramble and get second ball up, as Giannini going right back to serve again. Jump float off the tape, handled by Dawson. It's an over bump, and it's handled by Coleman. Great reaction off the net from Lucas Coleman. Set into the middle, taken by Whitley, or by Wojcik, excuse me. Goes to the outside, Coleman, handled in the 6. Set to the outside off fingertips, and it's kept up once again by Anagostopoulos. Otten, roll shot from Wojcik. Second ball from Thibault, goes straight up, and it's an attack power through hands. And who else? Vicente Parraguirre, once again, now in the 20s on total attacks for the Rouge et Or. And as Kyle mentioned, struggling yesterday in the championship quarterfinal, showing up here in the consolation semifinal, and trying to force a deciding 5th set as Laval trails 2-1. Wojcik rolls over top. Comes to the outside, and a tip this time over top. Anagostopoulos gets to it and gets out of the way. Coleman with the roll over top of the block. Finds the empty floor. And a good response there for Ryerson. Perhaps not deserving of how the way that point ended, as you see Uchenna Ofoa getting up, favoring his elbow, hitting the floor hard on that sequence.
What a play by Adam Anagostopoulos there. His awareness to get that pancake down and get that ball up, and Coleman to analyze his defense and get the ball over and into an empty spot on the court.
Wojcik with the jump serve, short into the net. So Robert Wojcik trying to take a little bit off the topper, goes short into the tape and bounces back. Service error for number 2 of the Rams.
And the 9th service error of the match so far for Ryerson. So Laval is 8, so they're pretty even in that category.
And another service error from the Rams. It's that hard float service, difficult to read, goes off the arms and out of play. And now it's a 4-point lead in the early part of this 4th set, 7-3.
And the thing with that jump float, it could change directions the second it comes to you, and you know when you're ready to pass the ball up.
And a great read back the other way. Serve receive picks up nicely. Anagostopoulos finds Uchenna Ofoa in the middle. And Ofoa converts. Again, not one to have a ton of attacking errors. We mentioned he doesn't get set a ton, but he is very effective in the middle when he does get the ball.
Jump serve this time from Coleman is short into the net. And another service error. The story continuing to build for Ryerson as it's short this time once again and gives the ball back to the RESQ champion Laval Rouge, Hugo Leggat serving. Leggat, and it's a service error back the other way. Leggat trying to get the jump topper to get over, but it's a little bit too heavy on the touch, and the point goes to Ryerson, who trail by 3.
And it seems like in this match, when one team has missed a serve, the other team comes back and misses a serve of their own. So, like you said, seems to be the story of the match, as that one looked like it was sailing along as well.
No touch called on the attack in the middle, as it's short again from Laurent Myhope, as they try to run the quick in the middle, a little bit too soft, and can't get the angle quite right as it goes into the tape and bounces back. Another pivotal point. Ofoa now to serve. Serve goes off the tape. Handled in the back to now to the left side. Double block. It's a Nagnostopoulos and Reardon. And that's a huge point by Ryerson, as they're now within a single point.
And what a play there by Adam Nagnostopoulos, who went up, and he went up with Reardon, but he got his hands on the ball, and that's what you love if you're a setter, to get that solo block.
Ofoa with a soft serve goes into 5, and it's picked up nicely, but called underneath the net are the Rams, and the point will go to Laval. 9-7 the lead now for the Rouge et Or. We try to force a deciding 5th set, and it will be setter number 2, Ethan Ellison out of Toronto, Ontario. Back to serve. Ellison with the floater, handled by Otten, goes to the outside, and it's Dawson again getting caught. And the block set by the Laval Rouge et Or finds the empty backcourt as Dawson struggles continue.
Exactly, he had things going from in the first couple sets, but since then, it just hasn't been going his way. As if you look at his numbers, he's now 6 kills with 5 errors.
And the touch off the serve there from the Laval Rouge et Or, and they extend the lead to 4. 11-7 is the line at the moment. And now Laval trying to open up a bit of a lead here in the midway point of this 4th set. And Nagnostopoulos, great shoot in the middle, finds Reardon again, but it's picked up. And the pipe ball is there, but who there to block? Nagnostopoulos and Reardon, as Adam Nagnostopoulos a little bit shaken up. You see him favoring his shoulder a bit there, but a great block by the Rams setter, framed inside by Mark Reardon.
And it looks like he was favoring shoulder, like you said, so we'll see that affects him as he's back at the service line now.
Nagnostopoulos with a short floater, gets over top. Dawson handles the over bump, but it's picked up on the other side, and the attacking error in from the Rams. No touch called on the attack on the right side, and the ball comes a little bit too heavy cross court and goes out of play. Another point for Ryerson. You're back within 2, and Nagnostopoulos still at the service line.
When he had to look like Dawson there, you'd expect him or want him to go down a little harder, as it didn't look like he put all that he had into that one.
Will Otten, great job on the dig there, picked up, set to the outside, but it's a swing on the right side from Bruno Lorty on the offside, going cross court, off hands and out of play. And the lead back to 3, 12-9. The edge now for the Rouge et Or, who again trail 2-1 in sets, in set number 4. Lorty serving. Jump floater again from him. Coleman handles serve receive, and Nagnostopoulos to the outside, and it's Wojcik with a big attack. But the block is set there from Giannini, and that's a big-time block for the outside from Olivier Giannini there for Laval.
As he read that one perfectly, he saw Mark Reardon go up as a distraction. He went up and got the solo block on Wojcik.
Nagnostopoulos finding Dawson, and now Alex Dawson with a big attack. Getting back on the scoreboard there was number 5 of the Rams. And Nagnostopoulos going straight up on the set. And Dawson wipes it off hands. And now he will serve. Handled by Ellison to the outside. Giannini with the attack, falls to the open floor. Nobody there in coverage for Laval.
This entire match has been back and forth. Both teams, sometimes they pull it to a little advantage. Most we've seen is about 5 or 6 points. So back and forth.
Short serve from Alex Dawson goes into the net. And we'll perhaps see if Dustin Reed going to go to his bench and get Brendan Kewen back in this game.
as Dawson continuing to struggle a little bit. And the serve goes back to Laval. Dawson handles serve receive, and Agostopoulos set to the outside. Coleman, attacking error from Lucas Coleman, a little bit too heavy. A block set at the net by Olivier Giannini and Laurent Mayholt, and unable to convert there was Coleman. And the deep serve this time from Mayholt goes out the back of the court and getting a free point back. Approaching the technical timeout again here, and we mentioned the last set, technical timeout, the lead held by the Laval Rouge, and they end up losing the set. So it's after that 16-point mark to see who steps up and who goes on a run. As the set goes into the middle this time to Leggat. He gets well over top, using his height to his advantage completely on that set, and we'll go to the tech timeout, Laval leading 16-12.
And that's the exact same score Laval was leading at last technical timeout. And when you look at it, Laval has been up at every single technical timeout, but so far they've only won one of those sets. So I'm sure the coach knows that, and they just need to pull through like they did in that second set.
So Ryerson been the beneficiary of the late stages of these sets so far. We are in set number 4, 16-12, the lead in favor of the Laval Rouge, who again coming off a tough loss yesterday in the championship quarterfinal to the Alberta Golden Bears. But Kyle, a tough draw for Laval as the Quebec champions, drawing the third-seeded Laval Rouge in this Can West representation here, but have been up there with McMaster in terms of being 1-2 in the national rankings all season long. So again, losing in the Can West playoff has really hurt the Laval Rouge.
Yeah, exactly. They were 23-0, lost their last game of the year against Winnipeg, and then they lost in the semis to Trinity Western, which bumped them down to the 6th seed because Saskatchewan went to the final against Trinity Western. So Trinity Western, Saskatchewan ahead of Alberta. And when you look at the lineup for Alberta, just a very unlucky matchup for Laval, like you said.
Set to the outside, and it's Coleman finding the back corner. Lucas Coleman responds as he usually does for the Ryerson Rams, finds that back corner. And it's now 16-13 for Ryerson, and Wojcik to the service line for the Rams. Topper coming from Wojcik, short into the net. And again, those service errors in the midway point of the set could be the difference. But again, if you're Robert Wojcik, a number of service aces with that hard topper. So again, if you're head coach Dustin Reed, you have to take the balance and take the good with the bad.
Exactly, but that's Ryerson's 12th service error, so 12 free points for the Rams. And you see Dawson there still not in it.
Dawson struggling there on serve receive. The overbump goes over top, and the Laval Rouge are going to capitalize on that run with the pipe ball getting through, and that's going to force Dustin Reed to call timeout. Again, tough sequence there for Ryerson, as you see the bench players coming over and giving perhaps some motivation to Dawson to get himself back in it. A great player for that Ryerson Rams team, but has had a bit of a struggle here in the midway point of this game in the late stages of the third set and here in the fourth. 5-point lead in favor of the Laval Rouge, 18-13. And again, thank you for joining us here at the Burridge Gymnasium on the campus of McMaster University for the 2016 CIS Men's Volleyball National Championship consolation semifinal number 2, upcoming between the UNB Varsity Reds, the AUS champions, losing yesterday in a 5-set heartbreak to the Saskatchewan Huskies, and the Waterloo Warriors, who lost 3 straight to the McMaster Marauders, who they lost to in the OUA's Final Four in the semifinals just last weekend here at Burridge as well.
Exactly, and when you think about Waterloo, tough draw for them both times, drawing McMaster in the semifinals of the OUA, then in the quarters of the CIS Nationals.
Service receiving error charged to the Rams there, unable to pick the ball up, and as we talked about on point, here comes Kewen subbing in for Dawson. And we'll see if Brendan Kewen can create a bit of a spark here for the Rams as he drops into serve receive. As still serving is Vicente Parraguirre for the Laval Rouge.
And when you look at the stats for Dawson, a tough CIS Nationals for him, as he was 7 for 23 yesterday, He has 6 kills and 5 errors today.
Lucas Coleman with the attack on the left side for the Rams, swings into the block, and it pops up and out of play. Great follow by Anagnostopoulos and the rest of the backcourt there for the Rams, making sure the ball drops out of play, and instead of playing the ball up and risk losing a point opportunity there. Coleman with the serve, picked up by Thibault. Ellison, roll shot, trying to get through there from number 11, Bruno Lortie. A little bit unhappy with the set there from Ellison. A little bit too flat, unable to get over top, and has to make an adjustment midair, and that's never a good opportunity.
Exactly. He was visibly frustrated after that point as he had to come back from behind his body to get that one over.
Lortie on serve receive. Ellison, backcourt, big attack out of the pipe. Once again from Vicente Parraguirre, point number 22 for number 5 for Laval. And we're going to get a Rouge et Or substitution. Frederic Boldu coming in to serve for Hugo Léger. Boldu, the 3rd year from Manceau, Quebec. Backup setter for this Laval team, going to come in and try to push here for Laval on service, as Le Rouge et Or have some height at the net. Great floater,
wow.
And what a move by Clement, putting in Boldu. A really shallow, hard float, hard to pick up there for Kewen, and that goes out of play.
Exactly, and when Laval did win that second set, you remember he put in one of his taller players at the net for the setter, so very smart coaching decisions by him, the 24-year vet.
And right on cue, Anagnostopoulos sets Coleman out of the pipe once again. And now we will see Brandon Jordan back to try to get some service points in for the Rams. Ofoa coming off to give way for number 11, Brandon Jordan. As the Rouge et Or drop 4 back, hiding 1 in serve receive, so a 3 system back in. As Giannini goes to the outside, and it's an attack off hands and out of play. Reardon and Anagnostopoulos in on the touch, but it's a good read by Lortie to force the ball out of play, and now Ofoa back in to give some height back at the net, or back in serve receive, and he'll give way to Will Lawton coming in. 22-16 the lead for the Laval Rouge et Or in set number 4. They trail 2 sets to 1 and will force a deciding 5th set. The attack in the middle, picked up by Thibault. Free ball coming from Lortie as Otten sets it up, and Anagnostopoulos gets up for second ball. Pipe again off hands. Lucas Coleman converting once again. Taking a little bit off of it this time, though, is Lucas Coleman out of that pipe ball. And a feather touch goes off hands and drops in. Big point there for the Rams, and number 14, Lucas Coleman.
Lucas Coleman's 22nd kill of the match, so he's dominating at the net.
And an attack response the other way on the right side for Laval. The block was set by the Rams, but squeezing through a seam and off hands and out of play. 23-17, and the Laval Rouge et Or are 2 points away from forcing a deciding 5th set. And a service error, or service ace, credited to the Laval Rouge et Or serve receiving error from the Rams, not even getting a touch on it, and it's now set point.
And this is the first set where there's a sizable lead going into possible set point.
Lortie, jump float again. Otten handles, serve receive. Set to the outside from Anagnostopoulos, goes off the hand of Wojcik and out of play. And that'll decide set number 4, 25-17. An 8-point lead, an 8-point victory here in set number 4 for the Laval Rouge et Or. And as Kyle mentioned, the most lopsided final line of a set we have seen so far. And full credit goes to Laval to close out that set, as opposed to set number 3, where they allowed the Rams back in and ultimately take the set.
Let's take a look back at the set scores. Ryerson won the first one 25-22. Laval fought back hard, won the second one 25-23. Ryerson came back, won that third set 25-23. And you saw there, Laval wasn't going to give up a late lead there as they won 25-17, dominating the Rams in that 4th set.
So we get a look now at some highlights here of set number 4. Couple of good ones to look at there. The perfect inside shoot set going to Mark Reardon. Get another look here at the roll from Giannini going into the block and out of play. Taking hands there is Thibault, finding a seam in the block on the outside. And a great scramble there on first ball get the roll shot over top that finds the pot there from Coleman. So a great back and forth match so far. Double block set on the outside there from the Rams, deflects to the open floor. And a great look at the swing that finds the back corner. The block set in by the Laval Rouge, working perfectly on that last shot. So 2-2 after 4 sets in this consolation semifinal. Both teams not ready to have their season come to an end, as we see a deciding 5th set upcoming. And if you're Laval heading in, generating a bit of momentum there, going on a run to finish set number 4, and they win it by a final line of 8 points. But now if you're the Ryerson Rams, going in to converse with your team and talking about how to come away with some energy and some momentum in set number 5, and Ryerson has to come out early and generate the first few points.
Exactly. It's been kind of a matchup at the net. You see Lucas Coleman for the Rams dominating with 22 kills on 33 attacks, but countering for Laval was Vincent Parraguirre, and he has 22 kills as well on 38 attacks, but both of them just fighting hard at the net. And now it's 5th final set, first one to 15, so always an exciting set to see who pulls out on top. As you saw in the Saskatchewan and UNB game yesterday, Saskatchewan came out firing. They were up 7-1 in that 5th and final set. You saw UNB with a little comeback, pushing it to 9-7, but Saskatchewan ultimately on top and on fire in that 5th set to push them into the CIS Men's National Semifinal tonight at 8 p.m. against the McMaster Marauders.
So set number 5 upcoming between the Ryerson Rams, the OUA runners-up, who finished second to the McMaster Marauders, losing 3-0 in the OUA Championship last weekend here at the Burridge Gymnasium, taking on the Laval Rouge, the RESQ champions, the only representative at the National Championship out of the Quebec Conference, who again have become a perennial powerhouse, dominating the Quebec men's volleyball scene over the last number of years.
This is their 9th consecutive title coming out of that division, and they won the CIS Championship in 2013, so a few years ago they were on top, so they finished tied for 7th last year and 4th in 2014. So
Laval winning that national championship on home court, defeating the McMaster Marauders in that matchup in Quebec City. So again, perhaps a changing of the guard upcoming here. Laval traveling to McMaster, and while Laval may not be in the final, could be McMaster's chance to host and win the national championship on home court, as the first point of the 5th set goes to Laval on an attacking error on the right side from the Rams.
And when looking at this matchup, you wouldn't think that the winner of this gets to play in the consolation final. These teams are fighting hard and playing like you would in the national semifinal.
So a jumping float there from Laval. Set goes to the outside. Coleman swings off, goes off hands. Taking first touch there was Wojcik. They go back to Coleman, off his body, and gets over top of the block, and a tough break for Laval. Great double block on back-to-back sequences on Lucas Coleman. But sometimes you have to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky, and that's the case there for Lucas Coleman.
Exactly, went up so powerful, got blocked at the net, and on his way down, hit him in the shoulder and sent it back over. Nothing you can do if you're Laval. Is definitely not expecting a ball like that to come back over.
Standing float on the serve, picked up by the Rouge, goes down the line, and Agnostopoulos just getting his hands up, and Alex Dawson once again being called for the infraction. Double touch there on second hands. And you never want to have your middle taking that ball, but with Dawson serving and Will Otten off the floor, he has been relegated to taking that second hand responsibility, and unfortunately being called for double touch there in the backcourt. And the point goes to Laval, and Dawson gets the first ball on serve receive. Coleman makes the adjustment, but the swing goes into the antenna, and it's back-to-back points for the Rouge, who open up a 2-point edge. 3-1 the score in set number 5. Laval winning set number 4, as the teams trading sets so far in this match. And the deciding 5th set ongoing at the moment as Coleman gets up over top. Otten scrambles to keep the play alive, but goes out of play, and that's 3 in a row for Laval. 4-1 the score for the Rouge, and that's going to force Dustin Reed and the Rams to call timeout. So again, a great early sequence here for the Laval Rouge, and as we said, coming off a 7th place finish at Nationals last season, losing both games at the CIS National Championships last year hosted in Canada West. And we will see now if they can fight through and get themselves in a more favorable finish and play in that 5th place matchup tomorrow.
The one game I'm excited for today is Trinity Western taking on Alberta, which is a rematch of the semifinal in the Canada West division. And Trinity Western swept Alberta, but I was sitting down in the crowd watching the Alberta-Laval game, and I was sitting around the Trinity Western team, and they said this is a different Alberta team. They're like, we haven't seen this Alberta team in a while, so who knows? That's going to be an exciting game for the first CIS national semifinal at 6 o'clock.
And perhaps the Trinity Western Spartans in the Can West playoffs waking a sleeping bear, not to play off the Alberta Golden Bears namesake, but they could be absolutely frustrated and looking for revenge here in this national semifinal, and what a stage to do so against their arch rivals from Trinity Western. Set to the outside, Coleman comes cross court. Lucas Coleman reading the inside seam of that block perfectly. Goes to the outside shoulder of the much shorter setter in Ellison, and it drops to the floor. Big point there for the Rams, who are back within 3.
You see Giannini wasting no time, got the ball behind the service line, and as soon as that whistle went, he had his floater over, so see if that's a strategic play by him.
Great attack again on the left side from Vicente Parraguirre, as his swing from the left side goes off hands, as the Rouge now within 2 points of the 5th set turnaround. Again, obviously, if you're unfamiliar, 8 points is the mark to get in this 5th set before the teams trade sides to keep things even. And it's Wojcik again out of the backcourt. What a C-ball attack there from Robert Wojcik, and as he's done all season long, capitalizing with a strong attack out of the backcourt.
Exactly, and that's what they're going to need to get going, get a few more points. And who else would you want behind the service line right there than Lucas Coleman?
Coleman with the strong topper, but it's read perfectly. Otten getting the first ball. Scramble is there, and just pushing it over as Wojcik goes to the backcourt. To the outside, and the attack through. Ball still up, going to follow through, and unable to get to it is Dawson. Tough break there for the Rams as they get underneath and pick the ball up off the attack. As it's another swing from number 11, Bruno Lorty, who again was going to have a big game here if Laval to get the victory, and he has done so. Soft floater over top, and Agristopoulos to the outside. Dawson getting back on the scoreboard. Big confidence booster there for number 5 for the Ryerson Rams as he finds a seam in the block, and the Rams back within 3. Ofoa to serve.
And maybe that's what this Ryerson Rams teams need. Dawson to get going, builds up the team around him, everyone gets going, so we'll see how this plays out for the Rams.
Lorty again reading the block, goes off the hands of Reardon, deflects off, and that'll take us to the 5th set turnaround. 8-4 the lead for the Laval Rouge, and they are 7 points away from playing in tomorrow's 5th place consolation championship. And if you're the Ryerson Rams, this could be the end of your season, what has been an exceptional year for them, qualifying for the CIS National Championship for the first time in their existence.
Exactly, they've played fantastic, and I mean, when you look at how they've done in past years, last year they lost in the OUA quarterfinals. The year before they lost in the semifinals, and the year before that they lost in the quarterfinals. So what a step for this team to come into the OUAs, win in the semis, and a tough matchup against McMaster, but to qualify for nationals. And I know not the result you want in the first set, but a tough matchup they had, but they still have a chance to find their groove and get a win at this tournament.
So back to serve, coming out of the turnaround are the Rouge, and Agristopoulos goes in the middle to Reardon. Scramble play picked up. Second ball is touched by Thibault and can't find the corner. They're going to call no touch on the pushover from number 7, Olivier Giannini, trying to find that back corner or perhaps push it off the top of the block. Unable to get either there, and the point goes to the Rams.
Exactly. He had the smart idea there, just couldn't execute it.
Agristopoulos with the serve, comes to the outside, and is Giannini responding, finding a seam in that block. Big swing by number 7 on the left side, and the Rams trail by 4. Laval up 9-5.
What a hit there, and that's what you want from your stars to get going. He's been effective too, but kind of slowed down, had a few more errors than he would have liked, but starting to get going when it matters.
Dawson with the service reception, once again causing the overbump, and that forces Reardon into the net, trying to get up for the block. And again, serve receive been an issue in the last set and a half for the Ryerson Rams. And now the Rams calling a timeout, trailing 10-5. And again, if you are the Ryerson Rams qualifying for your first national championship, if there's any season for them to do so, it is today, or this year, as they have a number of fifth-year players. Robert Wojcik, Mark Reardon, Alex Dawson, Brandon Jordan, all fifth-year players. And then you have Wesley Kosiba, who has come in as a libero and a serving specialist for the Rams as well. And then you look at Uchenna Ofoa, the 6'6" middle from Markham, Ontario, a fourth year and perhaps may not be back with the program next year. You do have a number of guys that are younger players on the team. You look at Anagostopoulos, you look at Coleman, you look at Kewen, and some of the other guys on there as well. Milan Ristic, the first-year player. And this program heading in the right direction for the next couple of years, but a lot of fifth-year senior presence on Ryerson this season, and happy to see the Rams qualify as the second seed out of Ontario this year.
Exactly, and having a lot of those fifth-year guys, a lot of young guys, great mentors, and that helps a coach build up a program.
And Anagostopoulos to the outside, finds Wojcik, pushes through the block, set up there by the Laval Rouge. Leading on the inside there, Olivier Giannini, trying to frame inside to number 9, Laurent Mailholt. And now in serve receive, a little heavy again, and Dawson continuing to have a tough afternoon here for the Rams. A little too heavy on the serve, pushes the ball out of play. And the errors mounting for the Rams as we get a substitution for the RESQ champ, Laval Rouge. Hugo Alexandre Paradis in to serve for Laval. Paradis with the serve. Shallow goes over top of the tape. Mishandled on serve receive, but picked up. Coleman fixing the ball. Great attack. Goes off fingertips at the net and in the six-back as we see Jordan coming in, back in to give way to Ofoa. Jordan going to come in to serve. 11-7 the line right now in favor of the Laval Rouge, looking to push here and qualify for the consolation championship tomorrow, as they will take on the winner of the Waterloo UNB game. That'll come up immediately following this one. Double block set in by the Rams, scramble play. Thibault gets to the ball and saves it. Dawson taking first ball in hands. Goes to Coleman, off the block and out of play. Great swing, Lucas Coleman. And it's now 11-8, forcing Laval to take a timeout.
And you see how pumped up this Ryerson team is. As you mentioned, they're fifth-year players who have been here for so long. How pumped up they were after getting that point. You see how bad they want this match.
So 11-8 the scoreline, and set number 5 only makes sense that we see this fifth set come down to the wire once again. Set number 4 a little bit more lopsided, but the first 3 sets all within 3 points. So again, both teams fighting hard here in a potential closing out of their season, or perhaps qualifying for one final contest. And we see now coming out of the timeout, Ryerson with serve, going to try to push here once again. And it's going to be the serving specialist again, Brandon Jordan to the service line, and who better to have there?
Exactly, very effective from behind the service line. He's a fifth-year guy too, so you know he doesn't want it to end like this.
Set to the outside, and called on the net are the Rams, but the swing was in anyway. And it was Olivier Giannini. And subbing in now will be Mark Reardon, giving way back again as he'll come in and allow Will Otten to come in and serve in the backcourt. And now if you're the Rams, perhaps is it time to see Brett Whitley once again at the setting position to come in and give a little bit more height? Or do they just try to run and try to get something going offensively here? And it's a short serve, Giannini trying to get it right at the front of the net inside the attack line to Uchenna Ofoa, but a little bit too short. And it'll give the ball back to the Rams. And it's Robert Wojcik with that heavy topper coming in, trying to take advantage and get the point to the Rams off serve. 12-9, Wojcik out the back. Robert Wojcik again trying to capitalize and give a point to the Rams, but it's too heavy. The point goes to Laval. So 2 points to match point.
or 2 points to match victory, 1 point to match point if you're Laval. The serve comes in and it's a floater. Dawson handles to receive. That's to the outside. Coleman picked up Giannini in the backcourt. It'll come to the pipe. Double block set in. Giannini again on coverage. Thibault to the outside. Great recycle by Laval. And Agnostopoulos finds Coleman. Cross court. Off hands. Out of play. Point for the Rams. 13-10 now in favor of Laval. Ryerson fighting. Substitution now coming in and on point. Here comes Whitley in for Agnostopoulos. Ryerson needing a point. They got Lucas Coleman at the service line, who's got a strong aggressive serve, and Whitley a little bit better blocker than Agnostopoulos coming in as the Rams need to push here and get another point. Coleman, topper, drops, picked up. Ellison to the outside, tip over top. Wojcik gets to it. Coleman picks it up, and Dawson just going to casually push the ball over, and they're going to call a reserve. Trying to figure out what the referee calling the floor captains over. I thought maybe initially calling a reserve on a potential injury on the left side, as we saw number 11 Bruno Lorty down on the floor, and it looks as though that's going to be the call. I don't see anything else coming from the officials, and neither coach making a bit of a stink, so I think Lorty being called down on the floor, but they are going to call a reserve. Tough break for Ryerson. They looked as though they were building there nicely. Coleman, strong serve, handled by Thibault. Set to the outside, roll down the line, out of bounds. Attacking error for the Laval Rouge goes out the sideline. And now Ryerson back within 2, trailing 13-11. Here comes Lucas Coleman with the serve once again. Topper, gets over top and it's handled in the backcourt. Ellison, hard to the outside, Giannini, out of bounds, attacking error once again, no touch called on the block. And it's another point for Ryerson. Will Clement take a timeout here for Laval? Yes, he will. Timeout, Laval. Ryerson fighting again, trailing 13-10, or 13-9, 3 straight points for the Ryerson Rams. And as we saw again in the early stages of this match, teams going on a run in the late stages of the match. And now at 13-12, 2 points to match victory for Laval. Ryerson fighting now, and they're just 3 points away from getting the win to tomorrow's game.
Exactly. I feel like a broken record we say that, but that's the story of 4 of the 5 sets. Besides that 4th set, we've been down to 2 points for this, 3 points for that. So I mean, now it's really who wants to play one more game, not only in their seasons, but in some players' collegiate careers.
As we saw, the Ryerson Rams heavy with 5th-year seniors, so this will be their potential final game. A lot of 3rd and 2nd-year players for Laval, so they got a bright future to look ahead to. Coleman with the serve. Thibault picks that up, set to Giannini on the outside this time. Finds a lane on the right side attack, and it's now match point for the Rouge. A couple substitutions upcoming. And Agnostopoulos getting in, as the Rams don't need a block at the net at this point. They need Agnostopoulos' second hands so that they can try and get a strong attack. And Agnostopoulos a little bit stronger with his hands than Whitley. But again, Whitley a little bit better blocker. That's why they have the interchange there at the setter position for the Rams. 2 substitutions coming in now for Laval, as serving will be Frederick Bolduc, as he try to serve for the match here, as the Ryerson Rams dropping 3 back in serve receive, tucking Wojcik away, leaving him as an outlet, and it's a service error, Bolduc. Rams staying alive for now, and will Whitley come back in? No, he will not. But we will see Wesley Kosiba coming in for Ofoa, as Kosiba now going to come in to serve, as we saw Brandon Jordan already subbed in for Dawson, as he can no longer be subbed in for a different player. So we will get the second best service specialist for the Rams in Wesley Kosiba. And Kosiba gets the serve in. Picked up and just sent over at the last second there. And it's Dawson again scrambling through. The ball comes back over and Agnostopoulos sets to the outside. Wojcik with the backcourt attack. And it's once again the C-ball working for Robert Wojcik. You see that coach for Laval, Pascal Clement, arguing with the official that it was a backcourt attack, but no call from the officials. Strong attack from Wojcik, and we're even at 14.
You see how bad these 2 teams want it, and you saw the Laval bench arguing, but we saw it clearly. We're in line with that line, clearly behind the attack line there.
Deep ball picked up in serve receive from Laval, set to the outside, and it's a power swing on the left side. Number 11, Bruno Lorty once again, and then we will get Uchenna Ofoa coming back in for Kosiba and then giving way for Will Otten, the libero for Ryerson, as the Rams now back in serve receive. Ethan Ellison gonna serve for the Laval Rouge. So Ellison again serving for the match for Laval. Deep floater picked up off the arms of Otten, but still a scramble play. Coleman with the down ball from the backcourt. Can they capitalize here now? And it's off hands and out of play. And the 5th set in the match goes to the Laval Rouge. They take the set 16-14 on an offside attack from number 7, Olivier Giannini. And set number 5 goes to the Rouge 16-14. And a tough way to end the season for the Ryerson Rams. They were in a good position to take this match, winning sets 1 and 3. But now it's the Laval Rouge who will play tomorrow against the loser, or against the winner of the UNB and Waterloo match that'll come up momentarily.
Exactly. What a hard-fought match, but what a, like you said, tough way for Ryerson to finish their season. So they lost to McMaster in the OUA final, and then they lost 2 straight here at Nationals, but still an amazing accomplishment for this program, which is definitely on the rise.
So Lucas Coleman getting player of the game, and who else for the Ryerson Rams? Coleman spectacular today for Ryerson, finishing with 27 points for the Ryerson Rams. Lucas Coleman. And for the Laval Rouge, Vicente Parraguirre, who finished with 23 kills, a team high for Laval. And they do take the match and go to the consolation final again tomorrow for the 5th place in this CIS National Championship, as the teams will shake hands and we will get set for the Waterloo and UNB game upcoming. But again, back and forth match here. Great effort, great single-handed efforts on either side, and a good team battle, good coaching strategy from both coaches, Clement and Dustin Reed. A great match back and forth between the OUA silver medalist Ryerson Rams and the RESQ champion Laval Rouge. Laval losing yesterday's quarterfinal 3-0 to the Alberta Golden Bears in a tough first-round draw for them, and the Ryerson Rams losing to the Trinity Western University Spartans in what was a spectacular 3-1 matchup there in the victory for the tournament's number 2 seed. Thank you for joining us on CIS TV. You watching the the CIS consolation semifinal, and the Rams drop to the Laval Rouge. Stay tuned. Upcoming consolation semifinal number 2 between the Waterloo Warriors and the UNB Varsity Reds. We'll join you again shortly. We'll throw you to a break. Thanks for watching on CIS TV.